Will anyone start their draft tonight with 3 straight tight ends? Is defending league champ Brandon Marianne Lee the woman to beat tonight? And how does returning overall champ Mike Beers defend his title? Follow along with the live draft board tonight and listen to our pick-by-pick analysis as we call the action from the 2018 Pros vs. Joe's Giant Walkie Talkie League Number 5 to see who will win a 2019 FFPC main event team. We've got a great show for you. Dave Gerzak is here. I'm Eric Balkman. Stick around. Your high-stakes fantasy football hour starts now. Greetings and salutations, Balkaholics and Gerzak addicts. Welcome to the latest episode of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by myffpc.com. I'm your slightly above average host, Eric Balkman, and my co-host is the patron saint of fantasy football, Dave the Dizzle Gerzak. Tonight we have the 5th of 6 special episodes for you. It's the Pros vs. Joe's Giant Walkie Talkie League Number 5 draft tonight. We'll be covering it for you over the next 2 hours. Follow the live draft board at youtube.com/highstakesfantasyfootball. We are having some issues with the Blog Talk Radio chat room, so if you wanted to jump in, we do have some people chatting. Shane Hallam, Kevin Williamson, all longtime BTR chat room participants. They're already chatting over in the YouTube feed, so hopefully we can get everybody over there tonight and chime in and talk there about the ongoing draft. Post your questions that you have in the YouTube chat. You can connect with us on Twitter at HSFFhour, at Eric Balkman, at David Gerzak. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/HSFFhour. And if you want to chime in and give us a call, it's 347-426-3682. That's 347-GAME-OVA. If you want to email the show, it's highstakesfantasyfootball@gmail.com. If you have any questions for us, now's the time to send them in. We'll try to get to as many phone calls, chat room questions, and tweets throughout the evening that we can, thanks to our producer and mutual friend Rob and our audio engineer Bryce. If this is the first time that you're listening to the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour on Blog Talk Radio, we're sorry. But we do normally air Friday nights at 10/9 Central, on-demand streaming available at Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, Spreaker, and Overcast. Big shout out to Fantasy Mojo's Darren Armani, who puts together this competition every single year. You heard and saw him draft last night, and I want to thank the FFPC, our producer, mutual friend Rob, audio engineer Bryce, for working some overtime over these past 2 weeks. Let's get to the lineup tonight, as they're flying, Dave. This is going to be a fantastically paced draft tonight, as they are already in the middle of the second round, and we are 4 minutes into the actual draft.
Wonderful.
Could we see the first ever 28 rounds completed live tonight?
I don't think so.
It's possible. We'll see what happens, but it's possible. The lineup tonight, the Pros will be drafting out of the odd spots. The Joes will be drafting out of the even spots. Leading things off tonight is Jared Smola from Draft Sharks, a former Pros vs. Joe's league champ. Brent Weaver is the FFPC Joe right behind him, followed by player profiler and Roto Underworld Radio Matt Kelly, the Podfather, hitting third tonight. We actually might get a phone call from Matt Kelly. We'll see what happens. Matthew Korn is in the 4 spot. John Paulson from 4 for 4 is right behind him, followed by the power tandem of Danny Mueller and Jeremy Roach, the Joes at the 6 spot. Defending league champ from the Pros vs. Joe's competition last year, Brandon Marianne Lee from Her Fantasy Football. Of course, you hear her on the Fantasy Alarm from time to time as well. Sean Olander is the FFPC Joe at 8. The overall champ from last year, the Big Cheese, Best Ball Command Center's Mike Beers is drafting 9th. Todd Musgrave and former guest of the show, Brad Pinkstaff, are selecting 10. Jason Moore from Fantasy Footballers wraps up the pros, drafting at 11th. And Norm Konapski and Scott Van Sickle are the FFPC Joes at the 12. So let's get through the first round tonight, Dave, since it went so fast. We have, if you like running backs, you're going to like the first half of this round because thems were a lot here as we kick things off. Todd Gurley goes to Smola. Brent Weaver goes with Le'Veon Bell, Ezekiel Elliott to Matt Kelly at the 3 spot. David Johnson to Matthew Korn at the 104. Alvin Kamara to John Paulson at the 105. And then Mueller and Roach. I should have read this text before we started tonight, but Danny Mueller texted me and said that they would probably be, they figure, going with what has happened in the previous 4 pros versus Joe's competitions, they figured they're going to take Barkley at 6, and sure enough, that's what happened. Saquon Barkley goes to the Mueller and Roach ground and pound at the 6th spot. First receiver doesn't come off the board until the 107. That is Brandon Marianne Lee taking Antonio Brown. Melvin Gordon right after that to Sean Olander. DeAndre Hopkins is Mike Beers' selection, his first selection since last year when he won the entire competition. He takes DeAndre Hopkins at the 109. Leonard Fournette at the 110. Kareem Hunt sneaks in tonight at the 111 to Jason Moore. And rounding things out to Konapski and Van Sickle is Odell Beckham. Kind of a chalky first round here, Dave. I'm not seeing anything that stands out to me. Perhaps, I guess the only noteworthy thing of round 1 is Antonio Brown sliding to 107 because of all those running backs.
Yep, pretty much just the same as all the rest of them, Ben.
Yeah, there's nothing. Maybe that's why the round went so fast too. It's because everybody kind of knew what was going to happen going in, and they flew right through it.
Well, you have no tight ends going the first round. That's usually you get one around 10, 11, or 12.
Yeah. The back end is usually ripe for a Gronk or Kelsey pick.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert: they went in the second round tonight. As we get to that analysis, Dalvin Cook at the 201. Rob Gronkowski goes to Jason Moore at the 202 to pair with his Kareem Hunt selection in the first round. That might be the first Kareem Hunt, Rob Gronkowski team I've seen in the PBJ so far this season. Michael Thomas at the 203, followed by Julio Jones to Mike Beers, the only team tonight who starts off receiver, and one of 2 teams to start off running back is Sean Olander as he gets Christian McCaffrey at the 205, Devontae Freeman right after that to Brandon Marianne Lee. To go with her, Antonio Brown to Devontae Freeman. A couple of tight ends right after that. Travis Kelce to Mueller and Roach. Zach Ertz to John Paulson after that. So all 3 players who draft tight ends in the second round already have a running back under their belts in the first round. Receivers are cheap here at the back end of the of round 2. It's Keenan Allen to team 4. That is, of course, Matthew Korn. A.J. Green at the 210 to Matt Kelly. Doug Baldwin to Brent Weaver. So he's not the T.Y. Hilton turn pick, the turn yes pick of 2018.
Baldwin moving up.
Doug Baldwin goes up to 211, and Joe Mixon at the 212 tonight as Smola starts off running back, and maybe running back, as we won't get to the third round quite yet. But 3 tight ends go off the board in this round, Dave. That is, I don't think we've seen it happen in any of the pros versus Joe's competitions thus far. But they all go off the board. Julio Jones does not slide tonight. He actually goes tonight at the 204 as opposed to the 210, which I think is what or was he the 211? No, he was 210 last night.
Yeah, it was later. Yeah, 210.
So he goes there earlier tonight. What do you make of the Michael Thomas selection before Julio Jones? If you were faced with that decision and you decided that you're going to go with one of those guys, who would it be between Thomas and Jones?
Now you're making me decide that.
Yeah, I'm making you decide that. I'm putting you on the spot tonight.
I always rip on Julio, but I like Julio over Michael Thomas. That's what I would probably say.
Shane Hallam already saying who is drafting tomorrow. You can hear him in the Pros vs. Joe Swan song tomorrow as we wrap up our coverage for 2018. But Shane Hallam saying he hopes the board looks like this for him tomorrow.
Interestingly enough, Todd Musgrave has the same start as the guy from last night, but the other guy went with Thomas first and Fournette in the second.
Ah, interesting.
So I thought about that last night. The guy took Michael. I shouldn't say the guy. I forgot who it was exactly. Michael Thomas. He took him in the first, but I thought that he could have taken Fournette in the first and been more likely to get Thomas in the second. But that's how it worked out tonight.
Yeah, exactly. So Jared Smola, a guy who has won He has won I don't believe he's won the overall competition, but I know he's won at least one Pros versus Joe's league title. And he goes running back to start tonight, and it remains to be seen if he will be the only team doing that, but thus far he is the only team. Jerick McKinnon slipping in the third round tonight.
That's the first time he's going to the third.
Is the hot air flying out of the McKinnon balloon right now, Dave, or is this just a freak thing that McKinnon falls in the third tonight? Granted, it was the first pick, but still.
I'm not really sure. I haven't heard any camp reports about McKinnon, or I heard Breeda's been looking good, but that's really all I've heard. And I did not pay attention to reports today, although I should actually look while we're on the air.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't be the worst idea in the world.
I'll be ready in 1
Are you just looking up McKinnon, or are you just looking up NFL news in general?
News in general.
News in general. Perfect. You know,
this
is what makes hosting the show with Dave so great. Is you ask him about one player. Say, David, you know, what's going on with him? And he says, Walkie, I'll do you one better. Not only will I give you the info on that player, I'm going to give you the info on the whole damn NFL today, whatever happened.
The hunky guy from 16 Candles, Jake Ryan, got hurt.
Yeah, I saw that. I was actually at the radio station this afternoon and doing some board shadowing with the producer there to get
wants to hear your techie crap.
To get my chops back, and that was the thing they let off the show with, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, Devonta Parker, ineffective so far. Oh, we could have told you that.
But you know what? This could be his year, Dave. It could be his year.
Terrible.
2018.
I'm so happy I dealt him for a second in some league, somewhere, sometime, at some point. I don't even know when it was, but I'm still happy about it.
Do you remember you've seen the infamous Browns quarterback jersey where they
Oh yeah, where they have it like
they have all the names listed.
Yeah.
You could make a Devontae Parker hype poster, like
breakout year jersey.
Here, Devontae Parker breakout year is, and then just cross off 2015, 2016, 2017. I don't even know if he was in the league in 2015, but this is at least his third year in the league, right? Or is it his fourth? It's his fourth. It's his fourth. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been breaking out since 2015, 2016.
Yeah, he's one of those slow roll breakouts. Devontae Parker is. He's the post hype sleeper.
Yeah, he's getting into the Dante Mockery territory.
Yeah, he's right up there.
So he'll become a free agent next year and then sign a 1-year deal for $7.9 million with some stupid team.
There was like some sort of like.
I feel like I'm being too much of a hater tonight, so I'm going to pick it up here.
No, that's fine. Have you seen Mean Girls? Movie came out. It's got to be almost 10 years.
I don't know if I did or not. I'm not sure.
Well, and this is not an original thought, but you know the joke in there is fetch isn't a word. Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen. Stop trying to make Devontae Parker happen. It's not going to happen. Which is like he's like the fantasy fetch of. I mean, I shouldn't say that.
I hope a lot of listeners, get your Mean Girls joke from 10 years ago.
They might. I don't know. His draft value is pretty suppressed right now, so maybe there is something to say about that. Anyway, 3:02 tonight is Jimmy Graham with a rainbow start from the FFPC. Joe drafting there. Brent Weaver, running back, receiver, and tight end are his selections to kick things off. Then you have Jordan Howard at the 3:03. Devontae Adams at the 3:04. Devontae Adams to Matthew Korn. Going to, that's the second receiver off the board. Mike Evans is to John Paulson at the 3:05 tonight. Evans it goes to the 4-for-4 competitor, and then Darius Geis right after that to Mueller and Roach. So they go with a running back in the first, a tight end in the second, and then Darius. Oh no, excuse me. I think we're getting a rollback here. We might be getting a rollback.
Mike Evans might be rollback.
John Paulson. Okay, so we'll stop at the Devontae Adams pick. Technical difficulties.
Looks like this draft ain't finished.
I was just going to say, I think they were going at such a breakneck speed that they had to find a way to slow the draft down, and that's exactly what happened tonight. What happened?
He paused it and he took Fitz instead of Evans.
So really? So it's there it is. Okay.
So Evans was
this.
You didn't want to take Evans.
Wait a minute.
Fitzgerald.
There is some skullduggery and malfeasance going on here. This is insane. So for anybody who's listening for the first time, Dave and I. Right. Dave and I make these wagers throughout the season. Of course, we do our show year round, so there's a lot of stuff that comes up. But one, I think our most talked about wager so far this year,
at least amongst ourselves,
which is probably about 2 months. I feel like we reference it almost every show. Probably about 2 months or so, month and a half, I don't know, whatever it was. But you have Larry Fitzgerald outscoring Mike Evans this season. I have Evans outscoring Fitzgerald, and the joke was that Evans was going so far in ADP ahead of Fitzgerald that I felt like I had to make this bet originally to happen. And since then, Fitzgerald has been creeping up in drafts, and he's probably less than a round as far as ADP goes in FFPC best ball competition. He's probably only a round behind Mike Evans right now.
It was like 16 to 18 picks at the time.
It was almost 2 rounds, I remember. Yeah. And now, last night was the first draft we see Larry Fitzgerald going ahead of Mike Evans. By the way, anybody who wants to jump in, and I don't care if you want to have them both open, the Blog Talk
presented by myffpc.com with your hosts Eric Balkman and Dave Gerzak. The High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour is your home for football analysis from the best fantasy players in the world. And now, because no one else was available, here are Eric Balkman and Dave Gerzak.
I'm sticking with you, Walkie.
We're going to have some good conversations going on in both chat rooms tonight. Rally Cap, Sports Betting Man, in both of them. And Rally Cap, by the way, wants to point out to you tonight, Dave, this is the penultimate Pros versus Joes.
Very nice. Good job, Rally Cap.
Yeah, exactly. So we left off with Devontae. So then the joke was last night, Fitzgerald goes ahead of Evans. Tonight, Evans is the pick. But no, there are technical difficulties that prevented John Paulson from taking his true pick, which was Larry Fitzgerald there.
Nice pick, John.
5. Another rainbow start as he goes with Fitzgerald to go with Alvin Kamara and Zach Ertz. Darius Geis was the selection right after that to Mueller and Roach. Alex Collins off the board once again in the mid-third round. Alex Collins, I remember we talked about this, I believe, in the second Pros versus Joes, and Howard Bender took him in it was like the mid-to-late third, something like that. Brandon Marion Lee, who does a lot of work with Howard Bender, with the Fantasy Alarm. Now she takes Alex Collins in the mid-third as well. So clearly, if you're a fan of Alex Collins, you believe in him, you might want to take a look at that Fantasy Alarm draft guide, which is obviously a very good draft guide, but it might be pro Alex Collins.
Yeah, if you wanted to, feel better about your own opinion.
What do they call that? Confirmation bias.
Yeah. Right.
And maybe that confirmation bias. Listen, Brandon Marianne Lee won this league last year, her individual league. She's playing in the main event this year for free because of that. So certainly we're paying attention to what she does tonight. T.Y. Hilton off the board right after that. T.Y. Hilton goes to Sean Olander. And then Kenyon Drake, the first running back selected by Mike Beers in the third round. Mike Evans falls to the 310 tonight. That's pretty good value to Musgrave and Pinkstaff.
It is.
Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. Real-life teammates, and in this fantasy draft, they go back-to-back. Thielen to Jason Moore and Stephon Diggs to complete the third round to Norm Kanapski. Dave, I can't remember if I've asked you this yet, and I feel like it's probably something we should have brought up. Which Vikings receiver would you draft first this year? Is it Thielen or is it Diggs?
I'd probably go Diggs.
Why Diggs, just curiously? Because Thielen got a monstrous amount of targets last year.
I just feel like Diggs is a more talented player. I don't know. That's just my take.
Okay, that's fair enough. I get it. So you look back at this round here, and we have 6 receivers going off the board in this round. What round was it? Was it last? No, it was last Tuesday's draft. I think Darius Geis went at was it the 506 or 508 or something like that?
It's like everyone in that draft forgot that the rookies existed. It was like
and there were dynasty guys in that draft.
Some, yeah.
Kevin O'Brien from DLF was in that draft. It's crazy. This is the same format. All 6 drafts, same format, same players in all 6 drafts. I mean,
might be rolling back
that you're drafting. Is there a rollback?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get to that. Oh yeah. There's a rollback there. Okay, so we'll rehash the third round here after the Fitzgerald pick. there was a different selection there. So now we can't talk about Darius Geis anymore.
Well, I think it's because they didn't refresh the draft room after the rollback, so then someone didn't realize that Evans was available at the 306. That was Mueller.
Right.
I mean, those guys, they don't really do any drafts, so I mean, how would they know?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Get it together, Mueller.
No,
figure it out.
They're fine. Well, bear in mind that they took Darius Geis based on Evans being off the board, the pick before him, and so now I'm sure the fact that he was available then after the rollback, it made sense. So we're not.
He's on the ball. I can't second guess the commissioner.
The third round is not being radically changed, which I thought it was.
We're gonna have to tell stories soon.
Two different picks. What stories do you want to tell?
Well, I mean, these guys aren't really making any picks.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know what story we can tell. Go ahead, Dave.
Are any of these guys or guys that were ladies going to call them tonight?
Yeah, Matt Kelly. Actually, we should be hearing from him shortly.
Oh, cool. Great.
But I want to bring this up. You said you were checking about news in the NFL today. As far as anything that was going on, was there anything that we should be aware of? Or are you checking again?
Michael Gallup got some first-team reps. Kind of dipped in the sideline by a hamstring injury. Tyler Eifert passes physical.
Holy cow, let's throw a party for that. My goodness. Put it on the calendar, ladies and gentlemen.
That's news.
Okay.
I thought that the Tywan Taylor running with the ones is a big deal.
Yep.
I mean, that really is. He's a talented player. He's a third-round pick, I believe, a year ago.
Yep.
He was just overshadowed by Corey Davis because Corey Davis is such an early pick, but he was talented.
And he's so awesome.
Coming out of, I think, Kentucky State or something like that? Wherever it was.
Western Kentucky?
Western, maybe that was it. Farrell, Farrell tried to represent, but didn't quite get there.
Well, we just talked about a talented player. Let's go to a talented drafter here. Caller, you are on with Dave and Walkie on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. Who is this?
This is Matt Kelly, the guy you were talking about.
Matt Kelly, I'm so glad that I prefaced it by saying we're about to talk to a talented drafter.
I hope he brings the energy for once. God, this guy never brings any energy.
Yeah, Matt, it sounds like you might have had a Red Bull before the draft.
I was on hold for 15 minutes plus the rollback. What's up with the rollbacks, people? We're still in the third round.
Yeah, it's part of our cheating.
Here's the thing. I think the prize of an FFPC main event entry, there's too much at stake here. There's just too much, and people are they're sweating and wringing their hands over every single pick, and everybody's just way too nervous. Yes, but you're trying to win an $1,800 prize, Matt.
Well, Danny Mueller and Jeremy R., they overthought it. They should have just pushed the button on Darius Geis and been happy. And then, oh, no, maybe we should get Mike Evans. No, Mike Evans was slipping this far because Mike Evans is terrible. He's the most overrated, overpaid wide receiver in the league. There's a reason why he's slipping this far with sharks swimming all around in this draft room. No one wants Darius Geis. The first draft was stopped because John Paulson of 4for4 just couldn't stomach auto-drafting Mike Evans. Just was like, stop the draft. I can't stand this. Anyone but Mike Evans. Give me Larry Fitzgerald. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Just not Mike Evans.
I think
we
take the blame. Dave, you and I take the blame for this the Evans Fitzgerald stuff that's going on because we're raising the stakes here unfairly to everybody else.
Matt, to take a side.
Yes, exactly. Matt, let's talk about your draft. Was the Ezekiel Elliott selection at 103, was that a difficult one, or did you kind of know going in that was your guy?
That is a difficult one. If you're at the 3 spot and it's between Ezekiel Elliott or David Johnson, that's not that easy. That's pretty close in PPR, right?
Yeah, they're both great players.
Is it not?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very close. My thing is, it's because this is best ball. I'm always leaning towards the guys with a higher floor early in the draft. I just have a very different perspective on best ball. I have made mistakes in the past. Like, for example, last year I drafted T.Y. Hilton, and Andrew Luck was a question mark. So drafting T.Y. Hilton in the second round was pretty stupid, right? Chasing guys with the incredible ceilings, league leader in yards, with Andrew Luck. Well, without Andrew Luck, what's T.Y. Hilton? He's a WR2 in fantasy. So that's not what you want. You want to make sure you're locking in these guys with the highest possible floors early. And the fact that Ezekiel Elliott is essentially a lock for 400 touches, maybe 400 carries, that to me is the ultimate. Whereas David Johnson, the offensive line is bad. The quarterback play should be shaky with either a rookie quarterback or a check down artist in Sam Bradford. So the external forces are working against David Johnson more than Ezekiel Elliott. So with David Johnson having to run into a headwind a bit more, makes me a little more nervous in a best ball draft master scenario. So that's why I went safety, and the safety is in the opportunity with Ezekiel Elliott.
Makes sense to me. I totally say, and honestly, it's not like an earth-shattering pick either. I mean, I see a lot of people taking Elliott over Johnson there too, so I'm totally with you on that. Talk a little bit about a contentious player on Twitter, contentiously debated player on Twitter. You made him your third-round pick, Jordan Howard at the 303. Tell the listeners why Jordan Howard in the early third is the pick for them.
I would never draft Jordan Howard in a traditional league. Jordan Howard is not the pick for you. I can't stand Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard gives me a shiver runs down my spine at the thought of drafting Jordan Howard. But again, we are chasing opportunity. In a draft master scenario, you are drafting the opportunity share more than anything else. Oh, and I just got another running back due to have an incredible opportunity share. Thank you, Frozen Jones, or Lamar Miller. Another running back.
You didn't think Lamar Miller was going to... Yeah. You didn't think
I hate
Lamar
Lamar Miller. I hate Jordan Howard, and I'm happy to have them on my draft master team.
Well, what about D'Onta Foreman? I mean, those guys always come back from Achilles injuries, right?
Yeah, D'Onta Foreman. Yeah, show me something, D'Onta Foreman. At least Lamar Miller has had 1,000-yard seasons in his career. At least Lamar Miller has been efficient at one point in his career in Miami. So he's shown us production and efficiency. I don't know anything about D'Onta Foreman. D'Onta Foreman, all I know about him is he couldn't catch a pass if his life depended on it at Texas. So I'm not interested in D'Onta Foreman. No, thank you. I'm interested in the Deshaun Watson offense, though. I think we should all be interested in that, in the idea that you could get the workhorse running back in the Deshaun Watson offense. That's exciting to me. I'm happy to have Lamar Miller. Again, I don't like him as a player. If I were building a team around a particular running back, it would not be Lamar Miller. Okay? See, hey, just what we talked about, right? Josh Gordon is available to me. And if this were a traditional league, I would be drafting Josh Gordon. But to hell if I'm drafting Josh Gordon in this particular scenario. And because I was talking to you guys and I wasn't thinking about who I was drafting, I have no idea what I'm doing here. So with Jordan Reed available and Kyle Rudolph available and Evan Ingram available and a strong desire to pick a tight end, I am going to go with Kyle Rudolph.
Oh, I love it. I love that pick. That's it's one of my favorite tight ends this year for sure. I would have taken him over Ingram. I would have taken him over Jordan Reed. So I really like that pick there. Chasing opportunity.
Again, I'm chasing ceilings. I'm chasing ceilings. Yeah. Love talking about chasing upside, right? I'm just diving on the floor. To me, there's just bullets flying through my windows, and I'm just diving on the floor. That's all I'm doing throughout this draft, just diving on the floor. Just diving on the floor and holding targets very tightly.
Hold targets, chase opportunity. This is the Matt Kelly way. And we certainly like this draft that you have put together so far. There's a lot of high-volume running backs on this roster.
It's the cowardly draft of all time.
Yeah, but you have to be brave to get on the floor and chase after all this stuff.
The Cowardly Lion, Eeyore, whatever you want to call it, whatever character from a cartoon or children's movie, I'm that guy.
Well, listen, you are certainly not that guy when you are churning out all those great podcasts with Roto Underworld Radio and certainly all the work you do over at Player Profiler. Is there anything you'd like to promote or anything you'd like to preview for any of your subscribers or any of your fans out there to let them know what's upcoming for Matt Kelly?
Oh, Royce Freeman just went off the board. He was another choice. But let's hope that Marlon Mack, I'm going to start to chase some upside, but I'm going to continue in Marlon Mack, Jamal Williams. I'm banking on one of those guys still being available. But I'm pretty much going full on at running back because, again, draft master. So I'm going to consolidate my running backs because there's so many wide receivers. You guys were talking about the news earlier. Every news blurb is another sleeper receiver having a great camp. From Taywan Taylor to Michael Gallup. It's just one late-round receiver after another. So why the hell am I drafting wide receivers early when there's all these great receivers late? Can someone explain this to me?
Listen, this is the correct way. The cowardly way is the correct way.
There's a certain player I'm
such a coward.
You might
There's
be
so
after.
many. I would love to chase Josh Gordon and Corey Davis and all this tantalizing upside. But what am I going to do? I'm going to take the guy with the 200 boring carries.
What about if Gordon falls to you at the 6'10"? What do you think? Are you thinking about him then?
No. Jamal Williams,
Marlon
Mack. I'm locking in my running back. It's all about you. That's the thing. You're not going to get me off my roster structure that I have in mind, right? Just by letting value, in quotes, fall to me at positions I don't want at that particular round. Not going to happen. That's how I drafted 3 years ago. I've learned lessons, Dave, in that I'm not the guy. I'm not the fish that's nibbling on that hook, on the Mike Evans is hook. No, I'm just going to take my Darius Geis and move on. Thank you very much.
There you go. I certainly appreciate
Danny Mueller and Jeremy they're going to learn this lesson too. That's why they're Joes and we're pros.
Yep. They should play a little more.
Matt, we follow you on Twitter.
You
at
can also
Fantasy.
check out my
Go
podcast
ahead.
on iTunes, Roto Underworld Radio, to answer your question from before. And, of course, PlayerProfiler.com has advanced metrics, none of which I talked about today, but next time.
Next time, indeed.
They are both products fantastic.
Yes, we love them. We love you. It's always great to hear from you. Good luck the rest of the way, man.
Thank you.
Matt Kelly, ladies and gentlemen, from PlayerProfiler.com, Roto Underworld Radio. Follow him on Twitter at @fantasy_mansion, #NeverJoshAllen, and he records it live at the DJ Moore Fan Club headquarters.
Hey, don't mention DJ.
Well, why can't I not mention him? Everybody in this draft knows who DJ Moore is.
Yeah, he's looking for him in the 7th or 8th or 9th.
I will stick my foot in my mouth.
Maybe not 8th or 9th.
I will stop talking about that. And listen, people don't want to hear from me anyway. Let's go to a very, extremely patient caller from the 712 here. 712, you are on the air with David Walkie, Pros vs. Joe's coverage on the HSFF Hour. Who is this?
Hey, how's it going? This is Sky Eilers. I'll be drafting tomorrow night from the 1 spot.
Yes, from the 1 spot, baby.
Yosemite Sam Bradford, yeah. Yeah, I thought this would be a good time to call.
Yeah,
you
because
can hear me all right?
when you're yes, you are coming through just fine, Sky. This is good because I don't know. Well, I know you're obviously watching tonight's draft. Have you checked out the draft boards from the other 4 Pros vs. Joe's draft in preparation for yours?
Oh yeah, totally. I've been following along, and I think that'll be. I mean, I don't know if it's an advantage. Maybe if there was more news or any injuries or anything like. I've been kind of looking at Vance McDonald as an option mid-rounds, and we're not sure if he hurt his foot bad. But, really as far as looking for trends in the picks, I think I have my board, my strategy pretty set. So basically, if anything, I'm getting more confident. I don't really see a team through all the drafts so far that I feel like I can't do better than. So. I guess maybe that's the best thing so far. But I thought now would be a good time to call in just for balance because you had maybe the most recognized pro with Matt Kelly, the podfather, to maybe one of the least known Joes, which is me. So I kind of just wanted to call and introduce myself because you guys kind of have a good knowledge and show a lot of omniscience, just about everybody that's participating. But, you're looking at Yosemite Sam Bradford tomorrow, and you might say, who the heck is this character? So, but yeah.
Scott, let me ask you. Let me ask you this question. At the 1 spot, we pretty much, Dave, have we seen Gurley go at the 101 in every draft so far?
Yes, we have, Walkie, so far.
Are we going to see
And by the way, Sky does have a #1 pick with one of his main event teams.
Okay. So, Sky, this is interesting here because now you can actually use, I mean, granted, they're different formats, the best ball and then the 20-round classic, that's the main event. But are you going to be trying out some strategies in the pros versus Joes with your team tomorrow? Question number one. And number two, is it going to be Gurley tomorrow or is it going to be somebody else at the 101?
Right. Well, I don't want to really get locked into any player specific, with this one exception. I think Todd Gurley is the top pick, and we'll just clear up that surprise for now. It'll be Gurley again tomorrow at 1-1. But, I mean, this is interesting. I mean, this is all I just feel like I've done more research this off season than I have any year of playing fantasy football, in which I've done for more than 20 years. But I feel like I'm really trying to just make some noise and make some money this year more than any other time. So being here in the pros versus Joes draft and really paying attention and being involved, I think this is going to help me a lot. So I'm just really thankful that I have the chance to be with all these great drafters and people that I read and follow throughout the year. But as far as in the main event, there was some talk on the message board tonight. Maybe people would shy away from the Rams and the Chiefs because of the Week 12 bye. Last year was my first year in the FFPC, so I guess I don't have a long track record of knowing, if that's a big disadvantage. So maybe it is. And I kind of want to ask you guys, because I'm thinking of adding another team based on looking at my draft positions. I think I'd like to add one more team and see if I could get another spot somewhere in the middle. Would you rather pick before the Thursday night opening game or after that game?
Interesting question.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say like I like early drafting. Granted, there's going to be a lot of information out there already, but I think I'd like to take advantage of drafting before the Thursday night game, before we see what actually happens. The draft boards don't change all that much after that opening night game. I think we saw some shifting.
You're crazy.
Let me finish my point. I think we saw some shifting around last year. Obviously, with Hunt moving up to the 101, a lot of drafts. Tyreek Hill moved up. Who was the guy who didn't move up last year, Dave, of the Chiefs? Because Alex Smith moved way up. There was one Chief that didn't move up.
I don't know, Kelsey. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, maybe it was Kelsey. I can't remember.
Tyreek had a good game.
So for me, I would draft before. Dave, do you have any thoughts on that of whether you would rather draft before or after that Thursday night game in the main event for an additional team?
I guess I think you have 4 teams or 3 or 4 teams, but I would probably balance it out a little bit if you have a few after. I would do a few after and a few before. But I think I would lean to before a little bit. And, it's the Falcons and the Eagles from what I'm seeing here. So I'd be a little bit inclined to take those players. And that even includes kickers and defenses and crap like that. And then, if you grab the Eagles defense, then grab a different defense and then just see what happens in the Cub one.
Yep.
So, I mean, these are late round picks. But, I don't know. I wouldn't mind drafting early.
It could give you an advantage in week 1 for sure. It might give you an advantage over the entire course of the season. Sky, listen, not only thanks so much for the kind words about the FFPC and we're looking forward to watching your draft tomorrow. We're very excited for you that you get to enjoy drafting with these pros and with these guys you're going to be drafting against in the main event coming up later in August, early September. We wish you the best of luck tomorrow, man. Do us proud, and you sound extremely prepped. So I'm sure we're gonna see a strong draft from you tomorrow.
Well, I mean, I hope so. I'm gearing up mainly for that first week in September and the main event. But I'd really like to make more of a name for myself here with this group. That would be great.
Fantastic, Sky. We'll look forward to your draft tomorrow. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call.
You bet. Sky Eilers, ladies and gentlemen.
That was really cool.
And watch him draft live tomorrow on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour.
Walkie, this draft is like the opposite of yesterday's draft.
How so, Dave?
This is like the gentleman's draft. Now, I don't mean this is nothing against Jen Ryan because she's a female. But this is a gentleman's draft in that We went through 71 picks before someone took a second tight end.
Yeah.
Last night, 12.
Yeah.
That's crazy, isn't it? I mean, 12.
Well, 13, right?
12 and 13, right?
Yeah.
And then 71, so pick 72 was Jordan Reed to go with Delaney Walker for Jared Smollett. I mean, that's really, it's honestly, they were being very nice to each other.
Yeah.
So you're looking at these teams, and you're like, wow, these guys all have pretty good tight ends.
Can I just say this? I don't want to start any conspiracy theories on this show that I haven't already
They all
started.
tweeted each other.
When Matt Kelly called in, I swear I could hear Jared Smollett's voice in the background.
They were
And
hanging
I
out.
swear I could hear Danny Mueller and Jeremy Roach talking shop with Brandon Marion Lee. I'm wondering if all 12 of these teams are actually drafting in the same room somewhere in the heart of the United States tonight and just palling around, having a good time with it. I can't confirm that. Just telling you what I heard. Where do we leave off? It's been a while since we've had a
I thought we were in like the late third. We never even got to Shady McCoy with Norm's pick, the 401, did we?
You know where we left off is that Mike Evans pick.
Oh, yeah.
Mike
Evans, we were floating around.
Right. Mike Evans goes to Mueller and Roach there in the third. Alex Collins, T.Y. Hilton. Darius Geist then goes to Mike Beers as his number one running back. Tyreek Hill to Musgrave and Pinkstaff. Adam Thielen to Jason Moore. And then Kenyon Drake is the selection to Norm Kanafsky and Scott Van Sickle at the end of the third. We're going to fly through the fourth round here to try to catch up a little bit. Van Sickle and Kanafsky then take, in the fourth round, as their number 3 running back, LaShawn McCoy. Amari Cooper, the second receiver drafted by Jason Moore at the 402. Sony Michel pairs with Leonard Fournette as Musgrave and Pinkstaff's backfield in the fourth round there. Rashad Penny goes to Mike Beers. So Mike Beers decides to formulate his starting backfield of 2 rookie running backs there, Penny going with Geist. Greg Olsen is the 5th tight end off the board tonight, and he goes to Sean Olander there at the 405. Ronald Jones and Derrick Henry, a couple of running backs off the board there. Jones to Brandon Marion Lee, and then Derrick Henry to Danny Mueller and Jeremy Roach. Stephon Diggs goes tonight at the Excuse me, I'm struggling with my eyesight is not what it once was. At the 408, Stephon Diggs to John Paulson from 4for4.com. The 409 is Mark Ingram, the second running back drafted by Matthew Korn. Lamar Miller is the third running back, as you heard live in that bombastic interview with Matt Kelly, which we all love. Lamar Miller is his fourth round pick. Brandon Cooks and Demaryius Thomas are the 2 receivers to finish out the fourth round. Cooks to the FFPC, Joe Brent Weaver, and then Demaryius Thomas to Jared Smollett. Jared Smollett, I feel like, drafts Demaryius Thomas a lot.
I agree with you, actually.
Yeah, it seems like he has him. And you know what's funny about that? I think I'm realizing that because I draft Demaryius Thomas a lot. So I tend to. I'm going
to draft a lot of Demaryius.
We're in the same Demaryius Thomas support group. And so, he brings the donuts one week, and I make the coffee one week, and we just hang out and talk about Demaryius Thomas.
By the way, let me talk. Can I bring Dez back up? Did we talk about Dez much last night?
Not really, no.
So Dez Bryant finally calls out the Cowboys. They call him out about the play calling, right?
Yes.
How they just ran the same plays all the time. He stayed on the same side of the field. We've been saying this for years on this show. Have we not?
About the play calling?
Yes, yeah, so Dez Bryant, they just send him up to the top of the field and just runs down the field.
Yep.
They never move him around. They never do anything.
Okay.
And the reason I bring it up is because Demaryius Thomas, they say, he's been moving all over the field.
Yeah, he has
using
been.
the slot. They're doing it. They're doing like what they do with Fitzgerald. And the Cowboys are too stupid of an organization to have moved Dez Bryant around. He's getting older. He's a player that should have been moved around. He should have been played in the slot. Now, Farrell said.
I was just going to say, first of all, you mentioned, I was just going to say, I heard a rumor from an NFL agent.
Yeah, Farrell said that Dez is not.
Farrell Elliott, Kentucky Fantasy Football State Commissioner.
So I brought this up to him off the air, and he said he's not quite bright enough to do that. But I don't know if I buy that.
I might buy that.
How hard is it to go in motion and just run like whatever, a 1 route or a 3 route or a 5, whatever the numbers are?
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, it's hard enough where the Cowboys didn't want to do it in the game. I mean, there's something to be said for that, so I don't know.
Look, the Cowboys are.
It's a he said situation.
They're a very bad organization.
Yeah. Well,
their anthem policy is okay, but otherwise they're bad.
I don't want to talk about the national anthem. Where do we leave off?
I'm standing for the show, so I stand for all sorts of.
I don't know why you do that. You have a chair. you would actually be close to your microphone for one.
I'm pretty damn close. Look, I'm like
yes.
8 inches away.
Yeah, but then when you look something up on your computer or you step away when you get ticked off at me on something I said.
Feedback about something, why don't you bring it up off the air for once?
I have.
Pansy and saying it on the air.
Hold on. Not only have I brought this up off the air with you, I've done it multiple times, and you've gotten tweets about this as well.
I don't listen to the tweets.
Twitter
is a fart in the wind, Walkie, and when farts waft around,
yeah.
I don't listen or smell them either.
But you like the tweets, you just don't like it when people tweet at you.
Hey, Henry Muno, screw you, Dallas. Good job, Henry. I appreciate that on the YouTube feed.
Yeah.
Keep on going.
Yes.
Talk about whatever you want.
Okay, I'll move on.
Am I close enough to the microphone?
Yeah, that actually sounds mellifluous right
Does it
there.
really?
That is fantastic.
I didn't know this was supposed to be like a 900 number type show.
Well, you don't change your voice. You just talk closer. I think you'd enjoy sitting down and talking into the mic. I do. It's fantastic.
Whatever.
All right, moving on. So terrible. Okay, so where do we leave off? This was, I think we got through the fourth. Yeah, we did through the fourth round. Okay, so 501, Delaney Walker, first tight end taken by Jared Smollett. The quarterbacks start coming off the board at the 502 tonight. That's Aaron Rodgers to Brent Weaver, Kyle Rudolph. Of course, you heard the podfather, Matt Kelly, take Kyle Rudolph there in the fifth. Golden Tate is the receiver after that to Matthew Korn. That is his number 3 receiver. A couple of running backs, Jay Ajayi to John Paulson. Royce Freeman to Mueller and Roach. Trey Burton comes off the board as the number 8 tight end, I believe, to Brandon Marion Lee. She gets him in the 5th round as her number 1 tight end. Tevin Coleman is the 3rd running back drafted by Sean Olander. And then Evan Engram right after that to Mike Beers. So Mike Beers, how old is DeAndre Hopkins? Like 26, 27, does that sound right?
Prime of his career.
Prime of his career, and then you have Julio Jones coming out of the prime, and then a lot of youth after that with Geis, Penny, and Ingram. Deshaun Watson, the 2nd quarterback off the board to Musgrave and Pinkstaff. Dion Lewis to Jason Moore, and then Allen Robinson, the 2nd receiver drafted by Kanatsky and Van Sickle there to complete the 6th round. And that's the 5th round, and we can move on to the 6th. Is there anything, I don't want to talk over you, Dave. At least right now I don't want to talk over you.
Very nice.
Do you have anybody you want to talk about in the 5th round here? Anything that stands out to you? Nothing to me, I guess, is all that crazy in that round. Allen Robinson continues to slip. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I think Allen Robinson for 5'12" is a nice pick. Dion Lewis, I don't usually see him go quite that late, 5'11". And again, I know I've said this before, I go back to the tight ends. It's just the tight ends have worked out nicely. Rudolph, and if you like Burton over Ingram, that's fine. And if you like Ingram, those are just nice picks. Not having to press or push. Well done by all these drafters, not ruining everyone else's draft.
Right. Yeah. Well, like I said, they're hanging out. They got reruns of Friends going on the TV. Probably some pepperoni pizza there, some potato chips, and some dip, and just palling around.
I feel like if these 12 people were stranded on an island together, after like 3 months, like 11 would still be alive. Well, like last night.
Oh, because they all take care of each other.
Yeah, last night there'd be like 2 left.
Right. Yeah.
They're killing each other.
Jen Ryan.
You had Lord of the Flies over there.
Yeah, exactly. Jen Ryan would have been wielding knives in each hand. Like, just like, one of them says Kelsey and the other one says Gronk, and she'd just be slaying everybody with them.
Yeah. Tonight's draft, 1 shark bite, 1 person dead. It's all right. The other 11 are still good.
I feel like tonight's the Disney movie, Trip Pros vs. Joe's, and last night was the Tarantino flick.
Right, exactly.
Something like that.
You heard Tarantino's making an R-rated Star Trek.
Yeah, we don't need. I know where you're going with this.
I won't say the tweet.
Check Dave's Twitter feed if you want to get the joke. But it's in.
I only like it.
It's crass and in poor taste.
I couldn't even retweet it. I just liked it.
Good. Well, it's out there. You can find it if you really want to. Get all these people that are unearthing all these old offensive tweets. I'm sure they'll be able to find it for sure. Let's talk about the value at Juju Smith-Schuster at the 601 tonight. Great job by Kanatsky and Van Sickle there to get him. We'll page the Gerzaka meter. Where do you think he normally goes in FFPC best balls?
503.
409.
Yeah.
So, and that's
a sweet value.
Talking about almost a round and a half of value there. So good job.
Yeah,
good on you, Norm. There.
I think the YouTube chat, everybody likes Norm's team. They did not like the Shady McCoy pick, if I recall correctly. But the rest of his team,
Shady McCoy is your number 3 running back. They didn't like that?
They didn't like it because it's too risky, probably, I'm guessing. But, this team could really do something if Shady's actually not going to be arrested.
Second place is the first loser, Dave, in this format.
I've heard the cliche many times.
Kerryon Johnson, the number 3 running back drafted by Jason Moore. George Kittle is the number 1 tight end drafted by Todd Musgrave, and Brad Pinkstaff at the 6:03 tonight. Then you have Alshon Jeffrey going off the board to Mike Beers. I'm curious, Dave. I was faced with this decision in a draft today. Who would you rather have in a FFPC format, 28-round best ball? Would you rather have Josh Gordon, or would you rather have Alshon Jeffrey?
Jeffrey.
Okay. I hemmed and hawed for quite a while on that one. I ended up going with Jeffrey, and I feel good about it.
Yeah, he's a professional NFL player in camp with a $40 million contract and not a head case.
He is, however, on the PUP list for what it's worth.
Yeah. I mean, it is worth something. You're right.
Right. That's why I asked. I don't bring up random topics on this show too much that I don't really care to hear what you have to say.
Oh, really?
If I'm asking you a question, there's a reason for it, because I feel like you're going to help somebody. Russell Wilson, the number 3 quarterback drafted tonight, and he goes to Sean Olander. Jarvis Landry, Josh Gordon's real-life teammate, goes to Brandon Marianne Lee after that. Rex Burkhead to Miller and Roach as their number 4 running back. You have something to say about that?
No, I don't.
Oh, I felt like you had a grunt on that.
It might have been a drink of
sorry.
Taking a sip of my drink
I misread. Michael Crabtree is the number 3 receiver drafted by 4for4.com's John Paulson. Marvin Jones, the number 4 receiver to FFPC Joe Matthew Korn. Jamal Williams to the Podfather, that's Matt Kelly. He said he'd be targeting him, and he got him in the 6th round. Tariq Cohen. Right after that to Brent Weaver. And completing round 6 is Jordan Reed. Jared Smola goes Walker and Reed back-to-back tight end picks there. I know it seems like in the past, and maybe this is because I've read the Draft Sharks recap of the pros versus Joe's drafts, that these drafts seem to be more fresh in my mind, but I feel like Smola has been doubling up on tight ends semi-early in this format in the past as well. And by the way, Sports Injury Predictor.
Jordan Reed picked by this.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Draft Sharks' own Sports Injury Predictor.
Right. And so clearly they're sharing some data over there, and the data is coming up Reed.
I think maybe they're putting out fake sports injury rankings here and just scooping up value.
Let's move past Jordan Reed and talk about maybe the pick of the draft here at 7:01 tonight, Dave. A fantastic value. Corey Davis, superstar receiver, probably going to be the MVP. Is that who I said was going to be the MVP this year, or did I say Mahomes? Remember we had that running joke last week? I think it was Corey Davis. I said that only Patrick Mahomes could threaten Corey Davis's 2018 MVP campaign.
Yeah, they're both unbelievable.
So I really like that pick as their number 2 receiver there to Josh Sharks, Jared Smola. Go ahead, you were going to say something.
Lots of risk. When's Jamal Williams? What's his ADP?
It's funny
because that seems super early.
It's interesting you say that because I was actually going to look it up because I thought it was super early as well. And I thought it because it is. 7:10 is where he normally goes in FFPC best ball. But again, Matt Kelly is getting his guys tonight. He's going after his targets.
Oh, dude.
And he might have been able. Here's the thing. He might have been able.
What's his ADP?
7:10.
All right.
He might have been able to get him in the 7th round, except he was also looking at another player in the 7th round, Marlon Mack, and he gets him there. Marlon Mack. I feel like that's also early for Mack. Let me take a look here.
Mack went really late yesterday.
Mac, that's Mac Collins. Whoops. Mac, 706. So if you want both of those guys, you got to soak the 6th and 7th round picks into
That's
it.
fine. Yep.
Tariq Cohen, not Tariq Cohen. Jack Doyle was the pick right before that to Brent Weaver. Cam Newton, the number 4 quarterback off the board to Matthew Korn. Chris Thompson, the number 3 running back drafted by John Paulson. And then a trio of receivers here. You know where I'm going with this, Dave. Sammy Watkins to Miller and Roach. Jamison Crowder to Brandon Marianne Lee. And then Josh Gordon comes off the board here in the mid to late 7th. This is a 7:08 to Sean Olander. Do you like that value there?
For Gordon?
Yeah.
No, I don't mind it, I guess.
Okay, so clearly.
Meanwhile, I'm trying to trade Gordon in 2 dynasty leagues. I'm mulling over a bunch of crappy offers.
I am going to say this right now. I'm not even going to ask you the question because I think I asked you a form of it last night.
Yes.
Between Watkins, Crowder, and Gordon, as far as how you would rank those receivers there, I believe you have them Watkins, Crowder, Gordon in that order.
Yeah, in the order in which they were drafted, seems okay for me.
Okay. Marshawn Lynch to Mike Beers as his 3rd running back. Nick Chubb. Well, what the hell, man? Nick Chubb was going in like the 10th round, 12th round in previous pros versus Joes, and now tonight he shoots all the way up to the 7th round.
He's going where he should go.
Did Carlos Hyde have an exploratory surgery that I was not aware of?
It's so ridiculous. Did
Duke Johnson get suspended? What's going on?
1209 in 2 drafts. It's crazy. The 7th round, that's about where he should be probably going, I think. Good pick.
Musgrave and Pinkstaff are all over Nick Chubb in the 7th round. Good for them. Emmanuel Sanders, the 3rd receiver drafted by Jason Moore from Fantasy Footballers. And then completing the 7th round is, of course, Chris Hogan, the Patriots receiver, goes to Norm Kanapski, Scott Van Sickle at the end of the 7th round. 1 quarterback off the board that round, 1 tight end off the board. So the tight ends, we're slowing down a little bit, but I feel like you're going to get that 2nd and 3rd tier being picked off here pretty quick as we move into round 8. And the 801 is, of course, a tight end. It is David Njoku, and he is the first tight end drafted by Kanapski and Van Sickle. Pierre Garcon, the 802 selection to Jason Moore, followed by a pair of old balls quarterbacks. It's Drew Brees to Todd Musgrave and Brad Pinkstaff.
That's a family program.
Tom Brady and old ball. Tom Brady and Mike Beers right after that. Robert Woods is to Sean Olander as his 3rd receiver. Tyler Eifert, the freshly physical passing Tyler Eifert, going off the board.
Look this way and cough.
Brandon Marianne Lee. Okay, so you can make testicle jokes, but I can't make testicle jokes.
I was following up with yours.
Okay.
By the way, I didn't say that. There was a joke about physical.
It was inferred. To turn your head and cough.
Yes, you know what? I infer things. You just say balls. Jesus.
Tyler Eifert to Brandon Marianne Lee. It's our number 2 tight end, by the way.
So we're just nuanced. Look it up.
Julian Edelman is the number 3 receiver to Mueller and Roach. I'm going to pause here.
Station identification.
Nope, and then I'm going to keep moving. Although we are coming up on the hour, so if this were real radio, we would be pausing.
70 degrees out.
10 seconds to identify ourselves here on blogtalkradio.com.
This is the worst website for hosting podcasts in all of America.
Julian Edelman to Mueller and Roach. Randall Cobb right after that. Randall Cobb is the 4th receiver drafted by John Paulson. Cameron Brake, first tight end off the board to Matthew Korn. And then a couple of receivers. Devin Funchess to Matt Kelly. Marquise Goodwin to Brent Weaver. And then rounding things out in the 8th round is Isaiah Kroll, the number 4 running back, selected by Jared Smola. By my count, Dave, and again, I'm no mathematician. I am a trained journalist and broadcaster. You don't have to do math for that. We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 tight ends off the board through 8 rounds.
Nice job.
Does that seem right to you?
It seems nice, yeah.
No, I mean, like, my count. Is my counting accurate?
Your count seems right.
Okay. And honestly, if you look at FFPC ADP with the tight ends, this is about what you would normally see. You don't have the nonsense we saw last night where people were scrambling to get their tight ends.
They were clawing at each other, like trying to escape a dumpster.
Yeah. Escape a dumpster?
Yeah, it's on fire. They're trying to get
out. I just hadn't seen a lot of people escaping dumpsters before.
I don't know, I'm just talking crap.
815, please save us from the dumpster conversation here. You are on
the dumpster fire of a show.
Yeah, well, it really is. You are on the air with Dave and Walkie on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. To whom are we speaking?
This is one half of the idiots that took Mike Evans.
Yeah.
You dummies.
This is great. This is fantastic. So I like this. So Jeremy Roach joining the show right now, and of course drafting with Danny Mueller tonight. You guys have done a lot of best balls throughout the drafting season thus far. How happy are you, or how sad are you, or what's your feeling on how this draft has played out thus far?
It's ideal. It's not exactly where we thought we'd be, but it's ideal. I'll put it that way. We're just Joes.
It's ideal. Okay.
As he stated, we're not pros, and we learned our lesson with Mike Evans. So we got to take our licks and move on.
You guys learn a few things about how to draft and so on. Maybe you'll play a few money leagues, and who knows what could happen.
We're underexposed. We're underexposed in experience. It is what it is.
Yeah.
The Podfather.
We get a lot of newbies.
All my shortcomings. So we'll adjust and we'll move on, and we'll be better after everything.
Well, I mean, you guys don't even have a damn quarterback yet. Have you noticed that you don't even have a quarterback?
Yeah. We're aware. I'm kind of letting Danny take the reins here. So who knows? We got a pick coming up here in 2, so I don't know what he's planning on doing. We've been talking back and forth, but who knows?
You know, people ask me, how do these co-manager partnerships work out so well? Well, it's one guy letting the other guy having carte blanche over it, and then the other guy just calling into our show and talking a little smack about the Podfather. Jeremy, do you have a favorite pick of yours thus far as you look through your team through 9 rounds? You got 5 running backs, the trio receivers, you have Kelsey. Is there one pick that you were really happy that fell to you tonight?
Getting Kelsey at 2.7, I like that, especially in this format.
That was pretty cheap.
I like Eric Henry at 4.7.
Yeah, Derrick Henry. That's some pretty good value on him as well. You know, Rex Burkhead to me this year seems like the type of guy that nobody is like, oh, God, you know, Rex Burkhead. There's nothing exciting about him. He could put up some numbers this year, Dave.
That's why they took him.
Yeah. So I actually kind of like that pick.
I thought Duke Johnson was a super value tonight.
I like the fact, you know, the other thing I thought you guys did well, you only have one receiver through 6 rounds, and then you get the upside of Sammy Watkins, and you'd like to think the reliability of Julian Edelman in the 8th round. So I thought that was a nice job there. And have you conversed with Danny as far as the 10th round here, what you guys are going to go? There's a lot of tight ends flying off the board in this round.
No, this is the one pick where he's going to be flying solo, flying blind, because obviously I'm on the phone. So you'll
this is great.
be just as surprised as I am as what he does, because I have no idea.
Yeah, you guys are on the clock right now, so we're all going to find out together tonight. Jeremy, I don't know if you saw the draft last night, but what did you make of the tight end start of Jen Ryan going with Gronk, Kelsey, and Jimmy Graham?
At the 12th pick.
At the 12th pick.
Yeah, I did see that. I thought the first 2 were pretty decent. I think it was a little excessive going with Graham, but to each their own, you know. I'm just a Joe. I don't know. Maybe someday I'll be a pro. Right now I'm just a Joe. So my opinion is irrelevant.
This is the Joe perspective with Jeremy Roach. Perhaps a future segment of the HSFFR. We'll have to.
That'd be nice, actually.
We'll have to look at that. What do you think of the name, the Joe perspective? Do you like that?
Well, I'd like to get some alliteration in there somehow, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's tough to get alliteration with Jay, but we'll try to come up with something for it. Because that screams blog title written all over it.
Jersey Joe.
Yeah, well,
you're not from Jersey,
you can't do that.
Chicago.
Yeah, it's got to be, you know, it's like paperwork with Jeremy Roach, you know, or something.
That sounds almost as bad as the Slowdown.
I don't know. That's not a bad name at all. You know, you rip on that all the time. The High Stakes Slowdown is a cool name for a podcast. So,
but that means you take the S off of stakes, and then you put the S at the start of lowdown, and it becomes the High Stake Slowdown.
I am
Did
aware.
anyone think of that?
I am aware of all the snide remarks that are being made on airwaves and on Twitter here. Now, I see the pick come in.
It looks like an auto pick.
It looks like an auto pick. I don't know if this is the legit pick. Jeremy, have
you are mixing up a scotch?
Have you confirmed with Danny that this is the pick that you guys wanted here in the 10th?
I have got nothing back from him. I don't know. We'll roll with
Maybe
it.
he was scrambling to make the pick. All right. Well, Naheem Hines is the pick there. It's a guy. It's a guy I like this year, and if you get him in the double-digit round, it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, and is you know, another running back to add to that deep stable that you guys are building there. So it looks good, as does the rest of your draft. I think we'll get to the odds here in a minute, but I believe that Javier from Terre Haute actually had you guys as a slight favorite overall to win this league at 4-1 tonight. Right over, by the way, over the defending overall champ Mike Beers, who was at 5-1. So you guys had you had the target on your backs coming into tonight, Jeremy.
Apparently so. We were getting blasted on Twitter. It was interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I did see some of those tweets. Listen, man, I'm going to let you get back to it here and crush the rest of this draft, as I'm sure you guys will do. I know you're going to be well, I shouldn't say I know. Are we going to see you personally in Kentucky and or Vegas this year?
Both. Yes, we will.
Excellent. Fantastic. Well, I'm sure we'll get together and
we
hang out.
need to find another Grambling bet.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
on Saturday night.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Jeremy already told me he's placing the college football bets on Friday night.
Is he?
Yeah, because are we confirmed that your wife will be hanging out with you in Vegas this year?
It's looking that way.
Yeah. So we're gonna have it's gonna be a covert operation to get all these bets placed.
That's cool.
properly.
Hey,
Yeah,
that'll be good.
fantastic. Jeremy, thanks so much, man, for calling in. We really appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, take care. See you soon.
Jeremy Roach, ladies and gentlemen, one of the more talented, experienced FFPC, best ball drafters and main event drafters, and football guys drafters. Had a lot of success with Danny Miller, of course, former guest of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour as well.
Lance came up with Rolling with Jeremy Roach.
Rolling
Rolling with Roach.
Roach.
It gets a little potty, though. Roach and Rolling.
It seems
It's
weird.
a Roach clip and then Rolling. That's, Lance is from,
I was
California,
just going to say, it seems weird that Lance would have come up with something like that.
Yeah. Lance, he's a cop, too. He can't really be doing that.
That's like me coming up with a blog called Handsome, Intelligent, Bulky. I mean, just all three things go hand in hand. You think of handsome, you think of intelligent, you think of bulky.
I'm going to start calling you Balmy. That's what Chris called you.
Yeah, so funny. I actually
You're very balmy.
we don't need to get into it. Did we finish? We finished the 8th round, so let's get into the 9th. Devontae Parker off the board at the 901 to Jared Smola. Phillip Rivers is the second quarterback drafted by Brent Weaver to back up Aaron Rodgers. I'm seeing a lot of Rodgers-Rivers teams this year in not only just PVJ, but football guys drafts in general, too.
Did you have a comment on the guy that took your super sleeper, Corey Davis, also taking another perpetual super disappointment, Devontae Parker?
Well, I think the 701 pick and the 901 pick are on opposite ends of the pick spectrum.
Maybe he just has like a kind of a draft blindness where he just takes guys that chronically underperform and don't break out.
Can I tell you honestly what I think happened here?
No.
Jared Smola
don't.
obviously wants to do well for his name, for the Draft Sharks name, clearly. He realizes he basically won the draft at 701. And now everybody else is playing an unfair game of catch-up. So you look at it, how do I get the other 11 teams back involved? I'm sure in the room where all 12 of these teams are drafting, they're like, oh, Smola, thanks a lot, and they hit him in the face with a piece of pepperoni pizza because they're upset because they have no chance of winning now. And he's like, guys, don't worry about it. I got you. And he takes Devontae Parker at the 901 to even the playing field for everybody else.
A very nice one.
Yeah, Smola, great drafter, even better guy. And I asked the other 11 other players in this league, I should say, and they will agree. O.J. Howard is the number 2 tight end taken by Matt Kelly here at the 903. Matthew Stafford backs up Cam Newton for Matthew Korn. Robbie Anderson off the board to John Paulson, and then Duke Johnson to Mueller and Roach. Will Fuller is the 4th receiver drafted by Brandon Marianne Lee. He goes to her at the 907. Jared Cook, 2nd tight end for Sean Olander at the 908. C.J. Anderson off the board, who I just flipped in a Dynasty rookie draft tonight for the 208 pick. I was pretty happy about that.
Nice job, man.
We should get into that as far as, do you want to, can I just go through? So
go ahead. Tell them the story.
Yeah, so I was in a Dynasty rookie draft tonight, which has been completed. It's a 10-round Dynasty rookie draft. And I was actually
and it's a live one, by the way, which is really stupid.
And it's a live rookie draft. So I had to get my trades in, before this, and I had to set my queue, and to see who I ended up with. And my queue ran out in round 7. So I got 6 of my own picks, and the rest are after that. Do you want to hear how it ended up?
Yeah, go ahead, Tom. Spit it out.
So I had the 102 pick, and then I had 3 second-rounders: Darius Geis, Cortland Sutton, Keelan Cole, and Albert Wilson.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, round 3, Traquan Smith, Kiki QT in round 4.
Those are solid picks, actually.
Jalen Samuels, round 5. I
like that a lot, actually.
Tavon Austin in round 6, which was the last.
He has 12 to 24 touches.
Exactly, yeah. And that was the last bulky pick, and then we get into.
You don't need that.
I'm going to say them. Malcolm Mitchell, Seth Roberts, Charles Sims, and Ryan Tannehill to complete it tonight for me.
All right.
So there you go. So that was fun.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was interesting to see that unfold. Let's see what the rest of this draft unfolds here. C.J. Anderson to Mike Beers as his number 4 running back. Alan Hearns is the number 3 receiver drafted by Pinkstaff and Musgrave there, and then Ty Montgomery and Corey Clement finishing out the round. Montgomery to Jason Moore, Corey Clement to Kanapski and Van Sickle at the end of round 9. Round 10 is completed. this is the tight end round, clearly.
This is the round that has no wide receivers drafted at all.
Yeah, interesting.
This is, again, another gentleman's type of round where no one's pounding the receivers. They let them all fall to the 11th.
And gentlewoman. I mean, Brandon Marianne Lee is.
Right, yeah, whatever. Yeah, gentlemen's, I'm not saying in a sexist way. It's just gentlemen's.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I think everybody's just being friendly. Oh, get your second tight end. If you haven't taken a quarterback, get a quarterback, get another running back, and then we'll start looking at receivers in the next round.
I believe that the rollbacks happen for some bathroom breaks for people running into the bathroom and hey, let's just pause it. We're all friends here. We can all just talk,
It's like a magazine league with the local draft.
Hanging out in some lounge in Chicago or where. I should ask Roach about that. I'm like, hey, where are all 12 teams hanging out and drafting this?
There's a cigar bar.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, I could see that happening.
Playing the blues in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's just having a great time tonight. This is, after the cutthroat draft we saw last night, I think everybody wanted a respite, and we're getting it tonight. And very enjoyable to call this action for you. Aaron Jones at the 10:01 to Kanapski and Van Sickle. A trio of tight ends right after that, Dave. Austin Safarian Jenkins to Jason Moore. Ricky Seals-Jones to Todd Musgrave and Brad Pinkstaff. And then Charles Clay to Mike Beers as his number 2 tight end. Dave, if you had to rank those tight ends, you don't have to rank them. Who's your favorite of that trio between Clay, ASJ, and RSJ?
Probably Austin Safarian Jenkins.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Clay is, Buffalo, awful quarterback play. Ricky Seals-Jones, Arizona, awful quarterback play. Austin Safarian
Josh
Jenkins.
Allen's been looking really good, though.
Yeah, for a rookie. Austin Safarian Jenkins, mediocre quarterback play.
Okay, fair enough. Theo Riddick to Sean Olander right after those tight ends. Then we have Carson Wentz, the first quarterback drafted by Brandon Marianne Lee. You heard the Naheem Hines pick to Mueller and Roach. And then Kirk Cousins, first quarterback off the board, John Paulson. Eric Ebron, the number 2 tight end for Matthew Korn. Number 2 in more ways than one. Giovanni Bernard, right after that, to Matt Kelly. James White, the penultimate pick of round 10. He goes to Brett Weaver. And then Andrew Luck to Jared Smola at the end of the 10th as his number 1 quarterback. I don't know if we've seen that yet, as Luck being the number 1 quarterback for somebody. Now, we like to rip on Andrew Luck, not as a person necessarily, but as a fantasy value. Maybe you like to rip on him as a person.
He does have a weird beard thing going on. Or has.
Let's talk about the other side of the issue. He's looking good right now. Reports are coming out that he's snapping the ball, firing it away. He's been sharp. I think we need to start revisiting Andrew Luck here and say, okay, maybe he's actually going in as a value in FFPC best balls. Are you ready to bump him up your draft board, Dizzle?
No, I think where he's going now is probably all right. I still think there's plenty of risk there with him getting re-injured. I'm sorry, I'm probably still not going to have with Luck this year. And if I don't get him, it's okay. I'm okay with that.
As far as I can tell, he was the 11th quarterback off the board.
That was kind of his ADP even like maybe a few weeks ago.
He goes tonight. He goes
around the 11th,
right.
11th quarterback.
Yeah, he goes tonight as the final pick of the 10th round. He normally goes in FFPC best ball at the 10:03, so there was almost a full round of value for Jared Smola to get him there tonight. And
not a bad pick at all. I mean, I think I'd be okay with that if I had waited that long, because there's other decent quarterbacks you can get after Luck that don't have the upside. That'll be fine.
And we'll see what happens as round 11 is now in the books, round 12 going strong. Let's tell you what happened here in round 11. Devontae Booker is the 11:01 to Jared Smola. Carlos Hyde playing the role of Nick Chubb tonight as he falls to the 11:02 tonight. Ben Roethlisberger, the number 1 quarterback drafted by Matt Kelly. Cooper Kupp, the number 5 receiver for Matthew Korn. And then Sterling Shepard off the board to John Paulson as his 6th receiver. Patrick Mahomes, superstar quarterback for the Chiefs, drafted by maybe the most experienced best ballers here tonight, Roach and Mueller.
Walkie's favorite quarterback?
Take Patrick Mahomes. I think
you love him so much you wouldn't trade him, wouldn't take him for Lamar Miller or Lamar Jackson.
I'm just trying to think of a Mahomes for a Miller trade in Dynasty.
I wouldn't do that.
Jimmy,
I offered you Mahomes for Jackson. You passed.
And I did pass. No, it's fine. I like Lamar Jackson. Again, the Dynasty format.
Yeah, where he's ranked 10 spots lower in all of them. dynasty ranking sites.
Yes, which are always behind the curve. You and I know.
That's why I offer them.
No offense to the dynasty pros out there who are still way smarter than me, but I think that is true, though. You know, there's a lot of rankings websites out there that for dynasty purposes, they seem to be a little slow on the uptake.
So, especially older players, not that Mahomes is old, but I'm saying they'll leave like Dez up there. It'll still be like wide receiver 34, and it's like, dude, he's not even anywhere. He's not doing anything right now. Anyway, moving on.
Shane Hallam, I'd take Mahomes over Lamar in a second still.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah.
I'm trying to accumulate. It's like Boardwalk and Park Place. I want to get all the properties of Lamar Jackson. I have 8 dynasty leagues. I don't own them in all of them, so I'm trying to get them as many as I can. I
just had an idea for a new podcast I'm going to launch.
Oh?
Yeah. It's called Smart People Who Make Intelligent Decisions That Agree with Walkie. The wording is a little jankety on that, but I think we can make it work. And basically, I'll just have a bunch of really intelligent, highly successful fantasy football players come on and basically agree with everything I say. And it's honestly going to make me look great. I don't know how great it's going to look for everybody agreeing with me. And quite frankly, I don't know how many guests I'd be able to book on that show anyway. Moving on. Jimmy Garoppolo off the board as the number 2 quarterback for Brandon Marion Lee. Tyler Lockett to Sean Olander right after that. And then Austin Hooper, the number 3 tight end drafted by Mike Beers. So Mike Beers, I believe, Dave, is the first team with 3 tight ends tonight, and he completes that mission in round 11. Des Bryant off the board to Musgrave and Pinkstaff. They believe that he can run more routes than the 9. They believe he can line up in more spots than outside. And who will he be doing that for? Who knows? What's the percentage chance that Des Bryant is a Cleveland Brown for week 1?
Who knows?
No, I'm asking you, honestly.
I don't know.
Your best guess, 10%?
20.
20, okay. Fair enough.
I don't know. I mean, let's say there's 32 NFL teams, plus there's a shot that he doesn't get picked by any team, but he's only going to see Cleveland.
Right.
And Josh Gordon's a head case. Yeah, more like 15.
Okay. Split the difference.
It is a percentage. It's a guess.
Marcus Mariota is the number 1 quarterback drafted by Jason Moore, fantasyfootballers.com. Matt Ryan right after that to Kanapski and Van Sickle as their number 1 quarterback. And I believe now through round 11, you look at everybody's roster, and they all have at least 1 quarterback. So
that's good.
People want to know, hey, how long can I wait to draft a quarterback in a best ball in FFPC this year? These people, all these good friends would tell you round 11 is where you want to make sure you have at least 1.
You should be fishing around 9, 10, 11 if you're looking.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I felt like Brady and Breeze are both good values tonight. If you look at them in the 8th, I think that was pretty solid.
Absolutely.
Obviously, I would have taken Patrick Mahomes over Drew Brees, but that may just be me. Jared Goff, the first selection of round 12 here to Kanapski and Van Sickle, and Dak Prescott to Jason Moore. So those 4 picks, those guys, the Team 11, Team 12, they both get their starting 2 or their top 2 quarterbacks there right at the turn here at 11 and 12 tonight. Defense is off the board to Musgrave and Pinkstaff. It is the Jags, and they are the first defense selected tonight. Right before Kelvin Benjamin to Mike Beers. Mike Beers gets Benjamin as his number 4 receiver. Alex Smith backing up Russell Wilson for Sean Olander this year. Marquise Lee goes to Brandon Marianne Lee. Relation? I have no idea. Perhaps there's some nepotism being involved in the pros versus Joes that I was not aware about.
Bruce Lee.
Could be. There's DJ Moore off the board to Miller and Roach, a pick that I was told to button my lip on. And Matt Kelly let him slide, and he goes in round 12 to Miller and Roach. Let me ask you this. You like DJ Moore for dynasty purposes.
I love DJ Moore. I do not like him.
Okay, you love DJ Moore for dynasty purposes. What about for redraft?
I love him there too. So where he's going, he's super insanely cheap.
Does he?
He's a better.
I'll get to that in a second. Is he a top 35 receiver this year?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, so I question your love here a little bit.
Well, I mean, he's a rookie wide receiver on a team that still has Greg Olsen and a mediocre Funchess. I think he has a chance to be that. I don't deal with certainties. I deal with a range of possibilities and probabilities. So I think there's a range in which he could be. He is a very super talented wide receiver. Phenom score over 4. That is I think
That's phenomenal.
it is. I mean,
That's a phenomenal
I think Josh
phenom score.
Gordon actually was the only other receiver that had a phenom score that high. And if it wasn't that case, he'd be unbelievable. So he's a fantastic talent. Cam Newton's a pretty good quarterback. The problem is Cam Newton has a lot of people to throw to.
Right.
So we'll see if they're going to feature him or not. But I mean, in the 12th round, it's like, why not? And he's going to have some really good games. So in best ball, it's a nice pick.
Massive overdraft here by Mueller and Roach with DJ Moore. If you look at the ADP here, they get him at the 1207. His ADP is normally the 1208. So clearly a bit of a reach here. But, these guys know what they're doing. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt with the DJ Moore selection. Blake Bortles right after that. God, I love that. DJ Moore, next pick, Blake Bortles. Fantastic. Blake, you can't make it up. Blake Bortles to John Paulson right after that is his number 2 quarterback. Chris Carson is the running back to Matthew Korn right after that. Derek Carr, the second quarterback drafted by Matt Kelly. And then the second defense of the round, it is the Rams, and they go to Brent Weaver there at the 12-11 final pick of the 12th round. Little bit of some volatility at quarterback here for Jared Smola as he goes with Jameis, as it is pronounced, Winston at the 12-12 tonight to back up Andrew Luck. So that's an interesting comment. High ceiling there, but there's a possibility that it could be bad.
It's interesting because a lot of people would have gone a different direction. They would have taken the conservative pick, but I kind of actually like going with the two kind of the riskier picks because odds are pretty decent that one of them is going to work out. I mean, Winston's going to be suspended for a while, but he's got really good upside. I mean, weeks 4 through 16, he's going to be around.
Will he be around in week 5 through 16? Because
5, he's out for 4 weeks.
Yeah,
it was 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay, but Dave. You don't know.
Steal some more crap?
No, but you don't know what he's capable of. Nobody knows. You don't know if he's going to be around then.
That's true. Seamus could do anything.
Yeah, he really could, and has. I mean,
I know.
He's run the gamut of crime. I mean, if you think about the things
crab thief
he's been accused of, the things he's admitted to, yelling expletives in the student union at Florida State University. I don't know anybody else who's done that.
You make a little bit of a joke about it, but I mean, groping an Uber driver is actually pretty serious crap.
I'm not making a joke about that.
I know you're not, but I'm just saying, I wouldn't make a joke of his overall litany of stuff that he's done.
Yeah.
Because I think it's pretty bad, actually. I think he's a pretty bad, I'm honestly being serious, I think he's a bad person.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know him as a person, so I can't comment on I cannot comment on that, and I will withhold.
That is not an indictment of Florida State and your fandom of Florida State.
Has nothing to do with Florida State.
There you go. It's not their fault he went there and took the scholarship.
Right.
There you go.
Charlie Ward's a stand-up individual.
He's a great guy. I love Charlie Ward.
Fantastic. Warwick Gunn built a lot of houses.
Warwick Gunn is an outstanding person.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Jameis Winston probably does some charity work in the Tampa area, I'm sure. He probably does.
If he might, actually. You know what? I think when he's probably not drunk or whatever and making bad decisions, he's probably fine.
You could say that about any of us.
I agree. I don't make good decisions either when that's going on.
Yeah, there you go.
Just go, but he don't drive home. But then when you take the Uber, just put the seatbelt.
We made that joke that he should have called the cops. Just, I need a ride home.
Yeah.
I want a ride. Just put me in the back.
And I need a dude to drive me.
Yes. I need a male cop to pick me up. And
anyway,
things would have worked out.
Anyway, nice pick, Jared.
Kenny Stills is another nice pick by Jared Smola at the 1301. I like that.
Actually goes well with the fermenting Devonta Parker.
Yes. Sort of like a fine wine to go with a maggot-ridden steak, as it were. You can use your judgment on who I'm referring to. Jonathan Stewart at the 1302 to Brent Weaver. I've been frying Devontae Parker. I guarantee I draft him in a few spots this year. Mitchell Trubisky, the third straight quarterback drafted by the Podfather, Matt Kelly, playerprofiler.com, Roto Underworld Radio. He is the first team tonight with three quarterbacks through round 13. He's set now, right? You wouldn't go after another quarterback after that?
No, I would not.
Yeah. Matt Breida to Matthew Korn to add to his running back stable at 1304. Mike Gesicki and Vance McDonald. Dave, I'd like you to look up the Vance McDonald injury news because it came across the wire last night, or maybe it was late in the afternoon, that he was carted off with a potential knee injury or leg injury, and I didn't know how this was affecting his draft stock. And there has been some positive reports on Vance McDonald with the Steelers, that, he had all those targets that he caught in that playoff game last year. They want to be a part of the offense this year. He goes right after Mike Gesicki tonight. What can you tell us about Vance McDonald, if there's any injury update or health update, I should say, on his status going forward in training camp?
Well, the Roto-World app's most recent update says he'll be a big part of the offense. So evidently, either they're asleep at the wheel, or he didn't really get hurt that
Or
much.
I'm making it up. Maybe I had a dream about it.
Let me check the Twitter.
All right, you check the Twitter, and I'll tell you that after Vance McDonald was Michael Gallup to Brandon Marianne Lee from herfantasyfootball.com. Nelson, a goaler.
Carted off practice at the end of practice yesterday with a foot injury, according to Tomlin. I'll see if there's anything later.
Aguilar.
Sorry.
That was the longest. I had to wait for that. So it was a foot injury yesterday, and we're waiting for more updates on that.
Yeah, and thanks a lot for Jack Kraft there, Roto-World.
Worth a risk in the 14th round as your backup tight end to Travis Kelce, 13th round, I should say. Is that a pick that you would have made there?
Who's this again?
This is to Miller and Roach. They already had Travis Kelce. They don't take another tight end until round 13, and they draft Vance McDonald.
Well, McDonald was a pretty good sleeper, actually, and I'm guessing that the foot injury I think if it was a really big deal, they probably would have, it's not like a knee injury.
Right.
A foot injury, it's like, all right, well, twisted ankle. I mean, the worst thing it could be is like a broken foot, and then that's like 6 to 8 weeks. Probably.
Yeah. A metatarsal.
Sure, some sort of tarsal.
Plantar fascia.
The little toe, that could be a problem.
What's the other big one? Jones fracture. That's another one. Maybe it's a Jones fracture. Liz Frank, yeah. Oh, that's another. Oh. You're naming off some pretty serious foot injuries here that I don't want to poo-poo it anymore. I think that this is something
maybe the tape came off his cleat.
Worth watching. Aguilar, I already mentioned Latavius Murray to Mike Beers in the 13th round here. And then Kenny Golladay over to Todd Musgrave and Brad Pinkstaff. Bilal Powell is the number 5 running back taken by fantasy footballers Jason Moore. And completing round 13, I actually thought it was Deshaun Watson for a second. I'm like, wow, that's great value. Now it's Benjamin Watson, and he is the number 2 tight end for Kanapski and Van Sickle there. I feel like there was something I was going to ask you about. Oh, we were talking about the Panthers before, DJ Moore. Is there any value in pairing in a best ball format Cam Newton with a couple of pass catchers with Olsen and Moore? Olsen and Funchess, McCaffrey and Moore, McCaffrey and Funchess. Is there any value into doing that? Is that something you would like to do? Dave, I know you'd like to get Christian McCaffrey on your team in the 2nd round. I know you'd like to get DJ Moore on your team in the 12th round. Is there value in pairing these guys and maybe drafting Cam Newton to go along with it?
Yeah, I think there is, actually, especially if you're a big believer in the offense or you think the team's going to score a lot of points, which I actually do. I think they're kind of a sleeper team for the Super Bowl, actually.
Wow.
I bet on them to win the Super Bowl in Vegas. I think $100. I think
Okay.
they were 35 to 1 or something like that.
Wow.
I thought that was a pretty good deal. I mean, they're a playoff caliber team. I know that the Saints are decent and Falcons are decent, but I mean, they're a good team, actually. I think they have a shot at least kind of making the playoffs and making a run.
Who's their offensive coordinator again?
Who cares?
I think you might.
Norv Turner.
Yeah.
He's a good offensive coordinator.
Okay. It's fine. Not disagreeing with you.
He's had success coordinating offenses. He's not been a good head coach, and whatever.
Okay. Fair enough.
Go ahead. Do you want to just make smirks or talk or not say anything? Say anything. Make an argument.
I just said I'm not disagreeing with you.
Then go ahead. Say something.
I have nothing to say other than let's go to the phone lines and take this call from the 760 who's been incredibly patient. You're on the air with David Walkie. Who are we speaking with?
Hey, you're talking to Casey Dodge.
Casey, we watched. Yeah, we watched your draft last night in the Pros versus Joes competition, and clearly, what we all want to hear from you is, do you like Norv Turner as the Panthers' offensive coordinator?
Yeah, I mean, Norv Turner's been in the league a long time. He's got plenty of experience. I think he can bring a good dynamic to that team, and sure, I'm a Norv Turner fan. I think he can help open things up for Cam Newton and their offense. Why not?
Okay, listen, Casey. Kidding aside, let's talk about your draft last night and how it turned out. As you looked at it, after the draft last night, or maybe you looked at it again this morning. What were your thoughts, and how satisfied were you with it?
Well, first of all, I wanted to first off say to you guys, thanks for doing what you guys do. Really enjoy listening to the show. I'm actually a pretty new listener. I just started tuning in to you guys since I was selected into this Joe's versus Joe's, challenge. I'm really honored and, love listening to you guys. It's been a good show so far. Last night when I was drafting, I wasn't listening to you guys live. I was actually simultaneously babysitting or taking care of my 3-year-old daughter while I was drafting. So I didn't want to have too many distractions, calling you guys in also and trying to multitask everything else. But looking at my draft, all things considered, the way it turned out, I think it turned out pretty well. I like going running back heavy in most of my home leagues that I'm in. I can't believe Julio Jones fell to me where he did at the very tail end of the second round. I really thought that was a gift that just kind of landed into my lap. I think Julio Jones with his I heard you guys mentioning, on yesterday's podcast. I actually did go back today and I listened to your podcast yesterday of the whole draft. I just really wanted to hear what you guys had to say about, the draft and my team in particular.
Did we like your team? I forgot. Casey, did we like your team?
Because I drafted all the rookie running backs. I drafted all the rookie running backs.
Yeah, all right.
I drafted. I got Rashard Penny. I got Freeman, Royce Freeman. I also have Kerryon Johnson. I kept it going. I took Calvin Ridley way later in the draft. I actually took him over DJ Moore because of I also had Julio Jones. And if anything happened to Julio Jones, I think Calvin Ridley's role would be much improved. So I kind of did that as a little handcuff insurance policy, and that's why I passed on DJ Moore in that position. Let's see, I waited on tight end. I ended up with, as you guys refer to, my 3 garbage tight ends, Ben Watson, Jared Cook, and Vance McDonald, who I also heard last night after I drafted. I logged on to my, typical NFL news following, and I was like, oh no, Vance McDonald hurt his foot. But then I was reading onto it, kind of like how you guys are, doing research now. And what I was able to find on Vance McDonald's situation is that he sounds like it's a minor foot injury, not anything too serious or significant, or else, like you guys said, there would be probably more news broadcast about it if it was more of a serious injury. I just think they're kind of playing it down. Obviously, probably got to get him healthy again. And I'm pretty sure he'll be ready for week 1 based on the information that I was gathering. I think we're all kind of in limbo to get the final definitive answer on actually what the extent of the injury is. But if I lose Vance McDonald for the year, man, that basically kills my team now. My tight end garbage lineup is even worse without Vance. But nonetheless, I really like my team. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we call them garbage tight ends. What I really mean is that they're 3, kind of lower-ranked tight ends that all of them have some upside. They all have things. Maybe not. I'm not as big a fan of Jared Cook, but McDonald definitely. Ben Watson with that offense. He's a veteran player, and they throw the tight ends all the time in that offense. And by the way, they didn't cart off McDonald. Right. They left practice. That's always a good sign.
Yeah, definitely. And I will say this too. Even if McDonald is lost for the year somehow, and knock on wood on that, which I just did, you would have you would be leading the league in experience at tight end with Watson and Cook. There's a lot of mileage on the tires that those crafty veterans know how to get open. Now, Casey Dodge, who drafted in the Walkman number 4 league last night, joining us here on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. Casey, we've said a lot of good things about your team. We obviously liked it.
You did.
What in God's name were you thinking, drafting Larry Fitzgerald before Mike Evans? Clearly, this was the mistake of the entire competition.
Great pick.
At the 303 last night. Fitzgerald over Evans. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. No, great question. I noticed the draft you guys have going on right now. I'm not the only one. It looks like team number 5 he's also a very smart guy because he did the same exact thing that I did. And I did listen to Fantasy Mojo's, I don't remember his name, but the guy that was drafting right after. I remember his comment that you guys asked him the question point blank. yes, Mr. Armani. I remember you guys asked him yesterday on the podcast, hey, if Larry Fitzgerald was available to you at that point, would you grab him? And he said, absolutely not. Well, just to be clear here on, I don't need to justify my picks. Obviously, everybody has their own rankings and everybody does their own homework and research, and clearly I did mine coming into the draft yesterday. But the reason why I had Larry Fitzgerald ranked over Mike Evans is because he's just let me down last couple of years. I drafted him in the first round last year of all of my home leagues. I was a big Mike Evans guy. He let me down with their quarterback situation right now with Jameis Winston being suspended. First 3-4 games of the season, or is it 2 games? I don't know, somewhere where Jameis Winston suspended for first games. And then I also read a report that Ryan Fitzpatrick may continue to be the starter after, Jameis Winston is eligible to come back. To me, just with the regression recently of Mike Evans and his kind of iffy situation and him not really performing at the high level that he did, in my opinion, his rookie year where he just went off. I don't know. I just feel like there's a little bit of instability with that situation. And in retrospect, that's the complete opposite for Larry Fitzgerald. He's the clear number one in that offense. Obviously, so is Mike Evans. But in Larry Fitzgerald's defense, he's just been solid. Last 3 years in a row, he's been over 1,000 yards and a minimum of 6 touchdowns. He also, I believe, had 2 years ago where he had 9 touchdowns and like over 1,000 yards. He's pretty steady. He's very consistent. I really like Sam Bradford as an accurate passer. I know their offensive line is kind of in question, but I think defenses are going to have to play honest with David Johnson in that backfield. So I think Sam Bradford's accuracy paired with Larry Fitzgerald, I think he's, clearly the best, passing weapon on offense, next to David Johnson, who's also a very good pass-catching running back as well. I just felt like Larry Fitzgerald was a lot more stable of a pick over Mike Evans and the volatility. So I just want more stability over volatility. Now, I know the upside with Mike Evans is obviously a lot higher because we've seen what he did his rookie year. That guy, 12 touchdowns, 1,400 yards is I would put a ceiling for Mike Evans. And, that's if all the stars were aligned perfectly for him, and it doesn't appear the way the beginning of the season was starting off for Tampa Bay is all the stars aren't necessarily aligned for him to have a season like he did for the rookie year. Is it possible? Sure, but I just wanted more stability, and a lot of the research that I did, a lot of other experts that I've, modeled my fantasy, football game after, kind of felt the same way. So I kind of went with, my mentors' opinions, and that's why I did Larry Fitzgerald over Mike Evans, and I know that was definitely not the ADP of the Fantasy versus Joes that, I know Larry Fitzgerald was projected to go much further and later on than when I selected him, but pairing him with Julio Jones as my 1-2 receivers, I think I can't really go wrong.
I remember when I was looking at his team, I looked at that. Just looking at the draft board and seeing Julio and Fitz on my team, I just, felt pretty good about it.
Yeah, for sure. And I will say this, you talk about players letting you down. I would say outside of one season in Larry Fitzgerald's Hall of Fame career, he has never let his fantasy owners down, and I don't imagine it's going to start anytime soon. Casey, you certainly did not let us down with your phone call tonight. Thank you so much for providing the analysis. And best of luck to you in not only the Pros vs. Joes, but the FFPC main event and all your leagues this season, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm actually a firefighter, and I'm on duty right now, so I'm glad that I didn't get a call while I was wanting to call you guys in and talk to you guys. But, I look forward to I think I met you guys last year when I was in Vegas, but I'll definitely make it more of a point to come and formally introduce myself and shake your guys' hand when I see you guys in Vegas.
For sure, buy you a drink, man. Yeah, firefighters, we appreciate it. Thank you for your service.
Yes, exactly. We really appreciate it, Casey. We'll talk again soon for sure in Vegas.
You got it, guys. You guys have a great day. Keep up the good work.
Thanks so much. Appreciate the kind words, Casey Dodge. Drafts while babysitting his 3-year-old daughter, calls into the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour while potentially needing to leave it at a moment's notice to go fight a blazing 5-alarm fire.
Those fires in California are crazy.
Yeah, they are.
Firefighters, I give them a lot of credit. That'd be a cool job, I think. Because it's like, they work,
firefighter.
yeah, they work like these 24-hour shifts. So, most of the time, like 19 hours of the day, they're just doing nothing, hanging out, shooting the breeze with their buddies, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom, you got to go, go crazy and do all these things, save people, save cats, whatever you got to do.
Yeah, whatever you got to do.
That's great.
On my morning run, I run past a fire station near my house.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, and there's a super buff, like obviously, like 6'3",
like really hot
240 pound
hot guy.
No. Well, I mean, but it depends upon your taste, I guess. Super, I mean, like obviously just rocked up dude.
Yeah.
And you know what he was doing?
Huh.
Mowing the lawn at the fire station. And I'm like, how crazy is it that this guy could probably double as a pro wrestler somewhere, and he's still the low man on the totem pole.
Someone got him on the lawn. Hey,
someone got him on the lawn.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. There you go, Rook.
Plebe or
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah. Go ahead and
Proby.
and gas it up when you're done.
You know what? I feel like I think I'm gonna watch a movie Backdraft after the show tonight.
Yeah.
I'm in the mood for it for some reason.
Well, I'm in the mood for some team analysis here, Dave. As we enter round 17 of this draft, let's kick things off with Jared Smola's squad. Todd Gurley, Joe Mixon, Jerick McKinnon, Isaiah Crowell, Devontae Booker are the running backs. Receivers, Demaryius Thomas, Corey Davis, Devontae Parker, Kenny Stills, Cameron Meredith, Josh Doxson, and Deshaun Jackson. Tight ends are Delaney Walker and Jordan Reed. Quarterbacks, Andrew Luck, Jameis Winston, and Andy Dalton. I think he did a pretty good job at quarterback, and we talked about the volatility there with Luck and Winston to get that stable Andy Dalton, who I think is in for a good bounce back. That was good. I'd like to see probably a couple more tight ends, especially with Jordan Reed on the roster, but if Reed remains healthy, this is a really good team.
I actually like his team quite a bit as well. I like the way he structured the draft. The 3 running backs early. I would have given him, if he had passed on Kroll and taken somebody, I mean, I know he took Devontae Parker, but if he had taken, let's say, Robbie Anderson, Hearns, or Fuller, whoever you like, I think that might have been a little bit more beneficial. I don't think he really needs that many running backs, but it's fine. His receivers are solid, actually. I mean, they're not fantastic. He doesn't have a lot of studs.
They're deep. It is a deep lineup.
I feel like, Stills, Meredith, Doxson, Deshaun Jackson, those are all solid picks to go with the kind of a little bit shaky start, but in a best ball format like this, his team looks
shaky start at receivers.
Yeah, receiver. His team overall looks really good. It's going to score a lot of points.
I agree. Fully agree. Brent Weaver's team from the 2 spot. Le'Veon Bell, Tariq Cohen, James White, Carlos Hyde, Jonathan Stewart are the running backs. Receivers, Doug Baldwin, Brandon Cooks, Marquise Goodwin, Terrence Williams, Mohamed Sanu. Tight ends are Jimmy Graham, Jack Doyle. Quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, Phillip Rivers, and he does have the Rams defense as well to go along with Matt Bryant and Robbie Gould, that kicker. I'm not a huge fan of this squad, David. I mean, you use 3 of your top 7 picks on 2 tight ends and a quarterback. It's going to hamstring your depth a little bit. I think his running backs can be okay. Receivers are a little shaky for my taste. Obviously, the tight ends, Graham and Doyle, are great, and Rodgers and Rivers, great quarterbacks. I feel like I needed some more meat, some more depth at backs and receivers.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that. I think Jack Doyle, when you take Jimmy Graham and Rodgers in rounds 3 and 5, it really handicaps the depth of your team. And it makes it tough. You have to really hit on all your late picks, and I think that's going to be a challenge for him to do that here.
Picking from the 3 spot tonight was the pro, Matt Kelly, playerprofiler.com. You heard him call in, and he's just a real low energy guy, but I'm glad we got him on and got him out of his shell a little bit, which is pretty cool. Ezekiel Elliott, Jordan Howard, Lamar Miller, Jamal Williams, Marlon Mack, Giovanni Bernard at running back. Receiver, A.J. Green, Devin Funchess, Jordy Nelson, Tyrell Williams, and John Brown. Tight ends, Kyle Rudolph, O.J. Howard, and Ed Dixon. Quarterbacks, Ben Roethlisberger, Derek Carr, and Mitchell Trubisky. I like the running backs on this team. I think it's a very deep, very touch-heavy squad he's got there in the backfield. I think the quarterbacks are fine, actually pretty good, especially waiting until round 11 to get that. And you look at the tight ends. I like Rudolph this year. I think O.J. Howard has a lot of breakout potential. Say what you will, but Ed Dixon, I don't have a whole lot, but it's round 17. Receivers, though, Dave. Receivers on this team. He's got some work to do in the second half of the draft.
Well, if you have Devin Funchess as your 2, it's a problem. I do think that's a problem. Jordy Nelson's super old. John Brown's like a good sleeper guy that they've been getting talked. He's been getting talked at the Ravens camp, so I think he's got some potential. I think by going with so many running backs, it just really did handicap him at receiver. I think he needed to be a little bit more balanced. Again, this is just my personal opinion. I don't quite get the love for Jamal Williams. Marlon Mack, I could see it, but Ty Montgomery is working as a third down back. So what's Jamal Williams giving you? And then Gio Bernard, not a bad pick in and of itself, but then when you are so short at wide receiver, that's kind of where I was wondering why, maybe you could have taken a Cooper Kupp type player or something like that.
Yeah, Kupp or Shepard, Lockett, DJ Moore, maybe there.
Whatever, yeah. And I think I don't think he had to take 3 consecutive quarterbacks. Once you got Big Ben and Derek Carr, you could have waited a little bit, got an Andy Dalton, Eli Manning, Tannehill, even whatever. Those guys are fine. Trubisky doesn't really do all that much good in the 13th.
Right. Yeah, I get it. Matthew Korn, FFPC Joe, drafting from the cleanup spot tonight at 4. It is David Johnson, Mark Ingram, Chris Carson, Matt Breida, Deontay Foreman, and Kenneth Dixon at his running back position. Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, Golden Tate, Marvin Jones, Cooper Kupp, and Geronimo Allison at receiver. Tight ends are Cameron Brate, Eric Ebron. Quarterbacks Cam Newton and Matthew Stafford. Greg the Leg is at kicker tonight. This squad is very talented at the top end for receivers. He also did a good job, in case Adams' concussion issues pop up. He does have Geronimo Allison there. He pairs both Lions receivers, Tate and Marvin Jones there. He also gets Matthew Stafford, Dave. So if that Lions passing game is, again, as prolific as it has been the last few years, that could be a big boon for him. I worry about the running backs, though. I mean, you're not going to have Mark Ingram for the first 4 weeks of the season, and then your next guy after that is Chris Carson, and then you only have, a guy in Matt Breida. We're not really sure of his role, even though he has been looking good. Deontay Foreman, we don't know when he's going to be healthy, and Kenneth Dixon, we don't know if he's going to make the team, quite frankly. The running backs to me are a problem here. And I'm also, even though he used 2 picks within his first 10 on tight end, I'm not the biggest fan of Cameron Brate and Eric Ebron.
Well, you have 2 timeshare guys, and that's a problem. I think the tight end is one of the weakest parts of this team. I think the receivers actually quite a bit. Those are nice. I think at running back, he could be okay if Breida or Carson steps up, but I think those tight ends are a problem. And then the flex position and or second running back / third running back is a problem.
Let's get over to Team 5. It's John Paulson from 4 for 4, and the running backs are Alvin Kamara, Jay Ajayi, Chris Thompson, Doug Martin, and Austin Eckler. Receivers Larry Fitzgerald, Stephon Diggs, Michael Crabtree, Randall Cobb, Robbie Anderson, Sterling Shepard, and Ted Ginn. Tight ends are Zach Ertz and Mike Gesicki. Quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins, Blake Bortles, and Ryan Tannehill. This is a pretty balanced squad, Dave. I don't have a whole lot of criticism on it. I guess I would have liked to see maybe a second tight end better than Mike Gesicki, but I like the quarterbacks. I think the receivers are all very target heavy. And, even though only 3 running backs in the first 7 rounds, but there's some upside with Doug Martin and Austin Eckler there in the 14th and 15th.
Yeah, I think the running backs are okay. They're not great once you get past the first 2. Receivers are pretty solid overall. He did a nice job there. I think he did a good job waiting on quarterback after taking Ertz early. Like you said about Gesicki, I think he's going to have a problem at backup tight end. But, I mean, if that's your problem, that's not the worst thing in the world. Ertz just has to stay healthy and come through, otherwise he's going to really be in trouble.
Moving on to Danny Mueller and Jeremy Roach from the 6th spot, running backs. Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Royce Freeman, Rex Burkhead, Duke Johnson, Naheem Hines. Receivers are Mike Evans, Sammy Watkins, Julian Edelman, DJ Moore, Anthony Miller. Tight ends, Travis Kelce, Vance McDonald, Hayden Hurst. Quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes and Eli Manning. The running backs are very deep. I feel like I look at this team, and this is a team that, as far as the running backs go, Evan Silva would probably like this. Of course, what we heard from him on the show on Friday night about, getting these running backs that have the potential to score a lot of touchdowns. And I think Henry, Freeman, Burkhead, they all represent that possibility there. And then obviously you get the pass catchers with Duke Johnson and Naheem Hines in rounds 9 and 10. So good job there. The receivers they kind of ignored through the first 6 rounds, but to get Watkins in the 7th, Edelman in the 8th, and then talented rookies in DJ Moore in round 12 and Anthony Miller in round 16, I think that could work for them. Quarterbacks I obviously love, Patrick Mahomes. I think Eli Manning's in for a bounce back. And then, Travis Kelce leading your tight ends, another upside guy in Vance McDonald, especially if he is okay. Hayden Hurst, I know, is a guy that you like, and it's their number 3 tight end. So a very strong contender for a league title here with Mueller and Roach's squad.
Yeah, I like this team a lot. They're going to have a lot of really good flex options at flex 1 and 2. McDonald and Hurst are great backup tight ends. Late, taking Mahomes as your number 1 quarterback in the 11th round is nice because you look at your first 10 rounds, you have an anchor with Kelsey, and then you just go running back and receiver. That's what veteran high-stakes players do. Really nice job.
Moving on to Team 7, that is Brandon Marianne Lee, and she goes with Devontae Freeman, Alex Collins, Ronald Jones, and LeGarrette Blount at running back. Receivers, Antonio Brown, Jarvis Landry, Jamison Crowder, Will Fuller, Marquise Lee, Michael Gallup, Paul Richardson, Quincy Enunwa. Tight ends, Trey Burton and Tyler Eifert. Quarterbacks, Carson Wentz and Jimmy Garoppolo. The top 3 running backs I really don't have a problem with. I think they all should get a lot of touches on their offenses. She waits until round 16 to take LeGarrette Blount. I don't know how big of a problem that is, but it is a concern of mine. However, the fact that she did wait that long, her receivers benefited from that. She really attacked the position with Lee, Gallup, Richardson, and Enunwa, later on in the first half of the draft to go with Fuller, Crowder, Landry, and Brown. So she is extremely deep at receiver. That could work out. I like Trey Burton as a number 1 tight end. And obviously, Eifert passing is physical. I mean, if he is somehow able to remain healthy for the majority of the season, that will be good. However, and the quarterbacks are fine. If Eifert does not remain healthy, if Burton does not break out, tight end could be a problem.
Yeah, I don't want to comment too much on tight end because she could take somebody else and really anchor the team out a little bit better. But I really like, this is an interesting draft because it's starting with Antonio Brown. You're like, all right, this is a receiver draft, but it really turned out not to be. Freeman, Alex Collins, Ronald Jones. Running backs are solid. I don't have a problem waiting that long for the other ones. And then taking all those receivers after that. So it was weird. Like, you start receiver and you kind of pass on it for a while. And then she came back to pound it later. It was a really well-structured draft and pretty balanced team overall. I like this team, actually.
Moving on to Sean Olander's squad, running backs Melvin Gordon, Christian McCaffrey, Tevin Coleman, Theo Riddick, Javorius Allen, receivers T.Y. Hilton, Josh Gordon, Robert Woods, Tyler Lockett, Nelson Aguilar, tight ends Greg Olson, Jared Cook, and Vernon Davis, Russell Wilson, and Alex Smith at quarterback. There's not a lot of sex appeal, I guess, is the best way to put it on this team, but it is solid, it is balanced. I don't have a whole lot of complaints about it. I feel like the structure is the type of team I would put together. Maybe not the same players, but I think this. I don't really have a whole lot of criticism here. I think he did. I think Sean Olander did a nice job.
Well, I go back to taking a quarterback and tight end 2 in the first 6 rounds. Greg Olson and Wilson. That's a luxury I don't believe you can afford to do. And then adding Jared Cook in the 9th round seemed a little bit early for me for Cook anyway. So I think that's where it hampers you a little bit. You don't get the running backs and receivers you kind of look, in my opinion, that I would want on my teams. So I think that's kind of, again, the weakness of the team is running back and receiver because of the fact that he took Olsen and Wilson kind of early.
Yeah, I mean, he's top heavy with Gordon and McCaffrey. I like that. The receivers, I kind of agree with you because you have a lot of.
Well, if McCaffrey has 500 touches, it's all going to be for naught. His team is going to be awesome. There's a lot of complementary pieces at receiver. We don't know what's going on with Gordon, and then Woods, Lockett, and Aguilar. None of those guys are, they're hit or miss. So it might work out. I think it's a good team. Moving on to Mike Beers, the defending overall champion for this competition. He comes in with Darius Geis, Rashad Penny, Marshawn Lynch, C.J. Anderson, Latavius Murray, and Peyton Barber as his runners. You have DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, Alshon Jeffrey, Kelvin Benjamin, and Mike Williams at receiver. Tight ends are Evan Engram, Charles Clay, and Austin Hooper, and then Tom Brady and Case Keenum at quarterback. I look at this squad, Dave, and it's not. There's no running back anchor, which I think is okay because you'd like to think that Geis, Penny, and Lynch are all going to get a lot of touches. And the receivers, I guess the depth is questionable, but Hopkins and Julio at the top, Alshon Jeffrey in the 6th, and Kelvin Benjamin and Mike Williams there. A lot of big receivers, good end zone targets. And the fact that Austin Hooper is his number 3 tight end, I think that could work out for him as well. You know, I struggle with this team a little bit because I feel like there was a lot of potential after the first first 6 rounds, actually.
Okay.
I'm not saying the rest of the team is bad. I think the Brady pick was nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the Lynch and Anderson, and then Clay and Hooper, and I don't know, for some reason those aren't players I really particularly care for, so it's on me, right? If he likes them, he likes them.
Right.
But I feel like his receivers could be better beyond the top 3 because he just ignored them completely from round 7 through 11, took Benjamin, then ignored them again for 3 more rounds. So if the receivers are Hopkins, Julio, Jeffrey, that's fine. Jeffrey, if whether he stays healthy or not is a question. But during the bye weeks, the receivers are going to kind of suck. I mean, and then you're not going to be starting 4 of them. So now you're going to be starting Lynch and C.J. Anderson and Hooper and Benjamin as your flex players, and that's really not all that great. So I feel like if he had kept pounding receivers, if he had taken another one, instead of Lynch or whomever, it would have just benefited his team a little bit more. Otherwise, it's a solid team overall. I'm just saying, I feel like he could have benefited a little bit more of those. He does need the rookie running backs to come through, though. Guys contending.
Which they might. I mean, they are rookies, but still, I think there's a lot of people who believe in them, myself included. Todd Musgrave and Brad Pinkstaff from the 10 spot tonight. Leonard Fournette, Sony Michel, Nick Chubb, T.J. Yeldon at running back. Receivers Michael Thomas, Tyreek Hill, Alan Hearns, Des Bryant, Kenny Golladay, Calvin Ridley. Tight ends are George Kittle and Ricky Seals-Jones. And then you have Deshaun Watson and Drew Brees. Of course, the Jags defense, Steven Gostkowski at kicker. David, running back depth scares me on this team. As well, quite frankly, the receiver depth is not what I would have liked to see. I think Des Bryant, the 11th, was a bit of an overdraft. And there's some potential breakouts at tight end, but they're also big-time question marks, too.
I like a number of the players on this team that he drafted, actually, in certain spots. But I don't mind this team overall, oddly enough. I'm surprised, actually. But I look at it, I think that Chubb, Michel, and Fournette together, I think those 3 are all right. His receivers might be a little bit on the weak side. I think the Tavon Austin pick at 18th actually kind of helps.
Yeah.
I feel like that's such a solid, cheapy running back pick that why aren't people making it in the 13th, really?
Right.
Why not? If he gets 4 or 5 catches, it's great. His receiver depth is not going to be fantastic, and then Ricky Seals-Jones and Kittle. That's 2 sophomore tight ends that you really have. One of them that has to break up. The Jaguars defense, to me, why making that pick in the 12th round when you have other holes on your team? That's just a wasted pick.
Yeah, I would not have done that. I probably, I understand he's sort of on the end, but I don't know if I would have kicked off the kickers in round 15. I probably would have let somebody else take the first kicker and then joined in on it. Jason Moore from FantasyFootballers.com, Kareem Hunt, Dion Lewis, Kerryon Johnson, Ty Montgomery, Bilal Powell at running back. Receivers Adam Thielen, Amari Cooper, Emmanuel Sanders, Pierre Garcon, Rashard Matthews. Tight ends Rob Gronkowski, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, and Luke Wilson. Quarterbacks Marcus Mariota and Dak Prescott. No quarrel with the quarterbacks. Absolutely no quarrel with the tight ends. I thought he did a good job there. Receivers, I think, are 1 through 5 are pretty strong. Running backs, I guess would be, if I had to pick a question mark on this team, it would be them. But I still think he's all right there. I mean, Kareem Hunt is going to get he's going to be a high volume running back. Dion Lewis should catch a lot of passes. Kerryon Johnson is sort of a sleeper. Ty Montgomery's been, doing a lot of third down work, so he's going to catch passes. And Bilal Powell is probably going to be the beneficiary of that injury to Elijah McGuire that took place. And you got to think he's got a spot locked up on the team right now and a pass-catching role as that. So, again, a solid team right here.
I'm looking at these teams. I feel like there's a common thread in the ones I like in that they don't take a lot of tight ends and quarterbacks in the first 9 rounds. Lock it up with Gronk, then go running back or receiver the whole rest of the way. I like this team quite a bit. Luke Wilson, I like him actually, so I think those tight ends are fantastic. Overall, this team is really super solid. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think Jason Moore is going to be in the thick of it all season long in this league for sure. Finally tonight, the FFPC Joes in the 12 spot, Norm Kanapski and Scott Van Sickle drafting Dalvin Cook, Kenyon Drake, LaShawn McCoy, Corey Clement, Aaron Jones, and Chris Ivory at running back. Odell Beckham, Allen Robinson, Juju Smith-Schuster, Chris Hogan at receiver, David Njoku, Ben Watson at tight end, Matt Ryan and Jared Goff are the quarterbacks. So I got a feeling you might like this team too, Dave, as rounds 1 through 7, all running backs and receivers.
Look at how great it looks.
They still get Njoku. They still do a good job getting Matt Ryan and Jared Goff at quarterback. In my opinion, as long as McCoy's legal, thing is behind him, that's going to be a fantastic value. And I can already tell you, I love the value on Allen Robinson and Juju Smith-Schuster as well.
Yeah, I mean, tight end is a little bit on the weak tip here. And so, but Ben Watson's a nice pick, and Joki's got upside. This is those garbagey tight ends. It's great. Jake Butt. And then Tyler Kroft. For Henry, Marion Lee, why did you not take Tyler Kroft when you took Eifert?
Go with Eifert.
You had so many rounds to take him. You took, like, Sproles, Bradford, Lambeau, whatever. I mean, granted, Lambeau came after Kroft, but I'm not ripping on her for doing that. I'm just saying, well, you have Gerald Everett.
Eifert passes physical.
Or would you rather have Kroft? I'd rather have Kroft over. But anyway, whatever. I mean, Everett's fine, but I'm just saying. Nice pick. Nice job by Norm. Really great team. This team has a really good shot to win not only this league, but the whole thing, if everything works out well for them.
We said this was the League of Friends tonight, Dave, and clearly
a lot of good teams in it.
Everybody wants everybody else to do well, clearly, in this format. And we had a lot of fun covering the first half of it, a little over first half of the draft tonight. We will be cutting the YouTube feed shortly, so if you are participating in the chat and watching the draft board there, we will have the full draft board on all the social media accounts tomorrow, as well as the FFPC message boards, so be on the lookout for that. I want to thank tonight's callers for calling in: Matt Kelly, Sky Eilers, Jeremy Roach, Casey Dodge. Thank you so much for making the show more enjoyable. And I want to thank Darren Armani, Dave Gerzak, the FFPC, producer and mutual friend Rob, audio engineer Bryce, and most of all of you listeners that put up with the delay on the Blog Talk Radio chat room. Hopefully you enjoyed the YouTube chat tonight. That was a pretty active one, and certainly awesome that you guys are participating there. Tomorrow night, it is the final Pros versus Joes competition of 2018. We will have it for you here live. Again, 1 hour later, 10/9 Central tomorrow for Pros versus Joes number 6. It is the Ford Pinto League. The Joes, of course, you heard Sky Eilers. He will be drafting tomorrow. Jason Steves, former HSFFO guest. Mark Behrens and Jason Derr will be drafting. Glenn Lowy, who everybody will be looking at in this competition. Obviously, a very talented drafter. Mike Dente and Adam Angelillo. We heard Mike Dente on the show a few weeks ago. He will be drafting tomorrow. And then, of course, Scott Hoyt and Steve Dusek will be drafting, completing the Joes competition tomorrow. The Pros, Fake Pigskins, Shane Hallam. Pro Football Focus's Scott Barrett. Yahoo Sports, Scott Pianowski. FF Masterminds, Michael Nazarek, who we'll actually have on this program coming up in a couple of weeks. We're going to talk to him about his Pros versus Joes competition draft that he'll be selecting tomorrow. Matt Schauf from DraftSharks.com, former co-host of this show. And then Josh Moore from 4for4.com, selecting 12 tomorrow. That is going to do it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. I want to remind everybody, if you have not had the opportunity to get on over to myffpc.com, sign up for the main event, draft Best Ball League. There have been a ton of competitive teams, maybe more competitive teams than I remember in the Pros versus Joes competition this year, as we're now through 5 of them. I'm sure we're going to see some more tomorrow. The overall leaderboard could be changing like weekly. Normally it's not that way. Normally a team gets out to a big lead or a few teams get out to a big lead after like 4 or 5 weeks, and you kind of know who the competitors are. I don't think it's going to be the case this year. I think it's going to be absolute anarchy on that overall leaderboard, Dave.
It will be interesting for sure. I feel like I did dog a bunch of teams, so maybe.
And would you Dizzle apologies here in the after the outro? Anybody you want to apologize to?
No.
Okay.
It's fine.
So
I mean, I guess that's my honest opinion on them.
I guess we'll leave it with this.
There's some very nice teams.
Dizzle, sorry, not sorry.
It's all good.
Research says you can earn Exxon and Mobil Rewards Plus points when you stop at a station to save on gas, coffee, car washes, and more. Research also says people like saving money. Most everyone, actually.
Sign up today at ExxonMobilRewardsPlus.com. Terms and conditions apply. Available at participating Exxon or Mobil branded locations.